live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm your other host, Paul, and we are joined by Nerdy Jesus himself. I was going to call him the Godfather of Nerd. Is that going to be the new little name I can give him now?
Oh, does that mean if any of your parents die, I have to take you in?
Yes.
No.
Yes, you do.
Well, you've kind of already adopted Goodwill as your son, as your child.
Yes.
But yes, so we are joined by the amazing. I need to say Goodwill. He's probably in the chat, being a dick as normal. But yes, Jake, like I said, to enlighten us as this topic for today. Let's be honest, this one was Jake's idea. So
yes,
so we
was inspired by Indiana Jones himself.
Very much so.
It really touched him.
as we did in the cinema as well.
Black roll, baby.
Contrary to what people say, I do listen to people's suggestions, so just saying. just getting that out there. But yes, so Sammy, how are you? Do you want to do... I'm still in your gimmick now.
Oh my god, are we doing it?
Well, I've done it for a while. Like I said, we haven't got 16 million people on with us today, so we might as well.
This feels like old territory, but let's do it. How are you guys, and what you've been watching? Even worse than it did before.
Yes. I'll go last because I always watch the strange shit. So yeah.
You very much do.
Okay.
I'll take it first. Actually, Jake, you take it first. I asked the question. You take it.
Okay. To be honest, I've been watching a lot of anime this week. I started getting into Mob Psycho 100, which is like by the guy who did One Punch Man, which started off as like a terribly drawn comic that eventually got turned into like a real manga, then an anime. So don't give up on your badly drawn dreams, everyone.
They could turn out good.
But it's basically about a little psychic boy who is like super powerful, but he's like taken in by like a fake exorcist who like gets him to do all the real work, and he's like really weird, and like the kid's like doesn't have many emotions, so it's kind of he's taking advantage of him, but it's like funny at the same time. But I'm not too far in, but I very like much like the style.
Are you getting all prepared for the new One Piece?
Oh yeah, I mean I've watched it today. Gear 5 is real, people.
Wait, I said to Anne today, I'll watch it with you.
Also, you saw the crazy animation.
Yeah, I watched one of the animated movies with him. But we're gonna start the series tomorrow. Wow. After, of course, Monsters is aired.
So is this the live action one started yet, or
it's coming soon? I think it's end of this month.
Because I've seen the advert.
I thought it
looks quite interesting. The Netflix one, isn't it? That'll get cancelled after one season.
Don't poor Cowboy Bebop.
I wonder how far they can get in one season.
The saddest part about Cowboy Bebop getting cancelled is just that it's going to turn people away from the actual anime, and like it's so fucking good, and that's coming from me.
I don't think it'll turn people away, because like that's everyone's like boilerplate answer when you like recommend me an anime.
Because it's like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, because it's finite, like it's not like a massively like weekly thing like One Piece with 1,071 episodes as of today.
I know Lee's just put in it's out the 31st of August. Now Lee went on a bit of an adventure as well, tying in with the theme of the thing. See what I'm doing there? Where he was trying to search for the One Piece plushies in B&M, and guess what? He got fuck all, didn't you, Lee?
He did. And I was saying in the chat, in the comments on that one, I'm glad I don't live anywhere near Donna, because she would just hoover up all those plushies. I'm gonna check the Newcastle site.
Fucking hell, Donna's probably been in every single B&M and like say abused the staff to get them. Donna always gets what she wants.
Just shaking the shelves down.
I'm getting one of these spare 2020 choppers, so I don't care.
But to be fair though, Goodwill in the chat is right. B&M, if you want to sponsor us, I'm happy to do a sponsorship.
Absolutely, I use all your cleaning products. I'm good.
And home bargains, we're not shy. Like, give us a call as well.
Sorry to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, because I found out today there is an American toy company that do the best figures in the world. They're called Super 7. And B&M have been getting stocks of the Super 7 turtle figures. And these figures are normally around about 80 quid. They're selling them for 20 quid. And you can get Leatherhead, I've got the bird pilot one, the duck pilot. I can't remember his name now. But like I said, if you are going to see them, you'll see them in a green or red box. You'll have to pull up to actually see like the covers. But if you see them in B&M, buy them because they are worth a fucking.
Send them Paul's way.
Yeah,
a good little hint and tip there. The Turtles ones, they have got them in. Yes.
I'll tell you what they did have in the one I went to, which I hadn't seen before. It was like Turtles Cross things where you got like one Turtles action figure and then something else. So like there was a Turtles Cross Street Fighter.
Right.
Where it had like Chun-Li and like, I don't know, Michelangelo or something. But there was one with like Donatello and Eleven from Stranger Things as well, where like she was upside down in the box as well.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Cool to display. I'm sure they're only like 20 quid or something. It's B&M's.
Hey.
How much could it cost?
For all your nerdy needs, guys. Yes.
Get yourself to B&M.
So, Sammy, what have you been watching?
Oh my gosh. So I'm back on the Grey's Anatomy's train.
Why?
I don't know. I know.
Did anyone have a bomb in the butt? Did anyone have to get a bomb removed from the ass?
Not yet.
Right.
I used to watch Grey's Anatomy back in the day when it was live on telly, like as in just first came out. And I was going to say
live episodes.
I wish. And I got up to the Danny Duquette story, and that broke me as a human. Like actually broke us to the point where I couldn't watch it again. So I'm trying again. I'm past Danny's story, and it's all good. But I watched an amazing film yesterday called Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Right.
I'll say that again and make it clear. Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye. And it's all about Tammy Faye Baker,
right.
Who was a T-evangelicist. So she's an evangelicist, but she was on television. You know, these preachers who are on telly, and all hailing and everything and wanting your money. They all want your money. There's a reason they all want your money.
Don't join the cult, guys.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and obviously her husband got done for loads of fraud things to do with the church and everything. But what I found so interesting, because obviously I go on deep dives, she was one of the first evangelicals and probably the only who never discriminated against the LGBTQ community.
All right.
Wow, ever. Just skipped that part.
She just absolutely loved humans. No matter where you came from, what you did, who you are, who you love, she just loved human beings. And she was the first person in America to have a church, a reverend who was gay, who also had AIDS, and it was in the 80s, height of the AIDS epidemic. And she was just breathtaking with them. But what was really interesting is they never contacted the person, the real life person who she interviewed for the film, never contacted, because they generally thought he died. Like they really thought he died, because obviously it was rife back then. It was there was not a high survival rate. Turns out he actually wasn't at all, and got in contact with them and played a massive part with the promotion of it. And sadly, he actually passed away July this year. And I just thought that was just so. It's just brilliant. It's got Jessica Chastain in it. She is absolutely phenomenal. She is unrecognizable as Tammy Faye Baker. The prosthetics that they use on her cheeks are amazing. And it's so good. So yes, it's on Disney Plus if anyone's interested in watching it. It's really good. Worth your time.
Nice. Cool. So I've been watching. I've watched two things that were quite interesting. One I thought I'd be the most boring documentary I've watched, but it turned out to be really interesting. The Arnie Netflix documentary. It's like a 3-parter. So the first part is all about his bodybuilding and how he got into bodybuilding and how he made his money. The second one is about his movie career and why he got into movies and like his process and stuff like that. It was quite interesting. And the third one was about his political career, and he was brutally honest. He admitted when he was a dick. He admitted when he'd fucked up, and how his marriage broke down and it was all his fault. He didn't try to blame anyone. He took it all accountability, and it was just quite refreshing. Like seeing probably the most famous man that's well, probably not now, but probably in the 80s and 90s, there was no one bigger than Arnie. And seeing his approach to life and just his take and just his honesty was just so amazing. And just his like talking and candidly and say like, "Oh, I'll never take your top off now because I'm not like I used to be," and like just being as honest.
He just has insecurities, just like everyone else.
Yeah, and
it must be tough being like a larger than like life character. Like he was, because like when you say like household name, it's like an understatement, really. Like he was like further than that.
He was an like when it comes to superstars, like Hollywood superstars, he is definitely one of them. I love how honest this man is. I haven't seen it, and I do want to watch it, but I always thought he was incredibly honest. Like with the whole thing with the nanny, hands up straight away. Yep, that's all me. I have a lot of time for him.
Yeah,
but he's at least reflecting. Like people are always like quick to be like, oh, they're a bad person because they did this, and it's like, well, give them a chance to reflect, and like maybe we'll find out why and stuff like that. But yeah,
no,
I agree.
I'll watch that. I didn't know it was out.
No, it was really quite entertaining. And like, let's be honest, there's been fuck all on TV, like say recently with everything that's going on.
That's the reason I'm watching Grey's.
Secret Invasion, but I kind of stopped watching that.
I haven't watched it.
Did you hear the rumor that came out about its Secret Invasion though? I read this today and it was quite. I can see why now. You know why it meant to have sucked so bad? Because it wasn't meant to be a TV show. It wasn't originally meant to wrote for TV show. It was originally wrote as Captain Marvel 2. And then they decided not to do that. So Carol Danvers was cut out because Carol Danvers is mentioned quite a lot throughout the show. And they decided just to do a Secret Invasion TV show instead of doing Captain Marvel 2 with it. So I can see why that worked that way like that it did now.
Yeah. And like, I guess spoilers for Super Invasion. Like everyone's mad that they jumped the gun on certain bad guys before maybe Marvel's first family is around to make them make a bit more sense and stuff like that.
Don't tease me, Jake.
The amount of rumors that's flying about that now. I have got one complaint about the rumors. If it is true, why are they going to Galactus straight away? It's the one bad guy that's been done over and over with the Fantastic Four. I wanted someone a bit differently to lead into.
Let them have a little ramp up.
Yeah.
I would be fucking buzzing if that was the case. I'm sorry, but that's just my personal taste when it comes to the Fantastic Four and Galactus. Wow.
But Galactus is a Avengers event bad guy.
Yeah, he's like a world event. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And have you heard the rumors about? I know spoilers, guys. Sorry about this. Have you heard the rumor? Because, like, say, with this actor strikes now, I don't know if anyone's noticed all the basically Disney's secrets are coming out. Because the Disney CEO has been a massive bell end. So everyone's spilling. Have you heard the rumours of how the story's going to play out for the Fantastic Four? And I'm interested if it is.
I didn't hear any of this. I didn't.
No, I didn't.
They're doing the Captain America story again, A Man Out of Time, where these family are going to be like set in the 60s. And then they've been catapulted in whatever way in the modern day.
Oh, I quite like that.
So that's why the Fantastic Four's not been around, because they've been out of time.
And they're not going to use multiverse?
No.
Oh, I love that.
Well,
I
like
so
that
much.
because, like you say, it does explain why they haven't like showed up for anything or at least been talked about. If he's like a high up there scientist, you know. You think he would have a name for himself, or there'd be a Baxter Building type of thing.
Yeah, and there's been no mention of it.
Yeah, and the Invisible Woman's going to be the lead, apparently. She's going to be the focal point.
Fuck. Yes.
So,
yeah.
But,
Sue... Sorry, I was just going to say Sue probably is the one that people know the least about, so that kind of makes sense as well.
And she's fucking badass. She really is badass. I have heard Adam Driver is definitely not playing Reed Richards. Oh. He has come out and said... Absolutely.
He couldn't relate to the... He offered it, though, but apparently he couldn't relate to the role. But, I
mean, who can relate to a super scientist who thinks they're smarter than everyone else?
But what happens if they just say, well, I know you don't want to play a Reed, but what about Doom? Because you'd be such a good Doom.
You'll be like, hang on, last time they put me in a mask, people got really mad.
Fans Can I go crazy. Through that again?
Although they did like him, to be fair.
Yeah. But sorry, I know I just went off on a massive tangent there. Sorry.
We tend to do that when we're together.
Yeah.
I like the rumor mill.
A Marvel one. Yeah.
There is a movie I watched on Netflix that I would recommend everyone to watch just because it completely hit me left field. I didn't see it coming. It's called Bull. It's basically a mobster, it's basically this hitman from the mob, from like a Cockney gang, like in the mob.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very much like Snatch or like that type of feel, or Lock, Stock. But basically, he's like a hitman, and they think he's been killed, and he comes back to seek revenge. But it's very much tongue in cheek, very EastEnders-esque shitness.
Yeah.
But it's very violent. It's very bloody and gory. But there's a twist at the end that you just never see coming, and it's so well done.
Ooh.
And I'd like to say, if you're a horror fan as well, I would say watch it for the twist.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But
On the list.
It's only a short movie. I think it's only about 100, an hour and 20 minutes or something like that.
Thank God. I'm getting really. I can't. I'm starting to struggle with long movies. I don't know what. I think when I've hit 40, I'm like, oh, you can't do this anymore.
Go, Bill, stop with the polls. I can't see the chat.
Please, I can't see the chat.
No, we forgot to tell them on.
One more thing before we get into this week's episode. I did manage to see The Flash.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have seen it.
I've seen it on Twitter and clips.
I'm not going to lie. Yes, shitty CGI. Totally get it. However, I actually liked it.
It's
I didn't mind it.
If you get past the first 45 minutes, it's a decent film. The first 45 minutes is terrible.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I totally agree. And I remember
I saw that scene where he like looks at everyone in the other universes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I did shed a tear at some parts of it. There was one part in particular, I was like, I can't believe I've done that. And it's not the one you're probably thinking of either, of somebody else.
No, but I'm fully aware that me like watching it from a phone screen to laugh at the weird things isn't the intended experience.
No.
But I couldn't escape it.
I know Dan absolutely hated it, but I didn't mind it.
It's one of those films where they made it. I'm a bit gutted.
It's done.
Yeah, I'm a bit gutted.
I'll check it out for free.
Yeah, I'm a bit gutted to keep leaking stuff now, which makes the DC universe think, if they were going along them lines, a lot more interesting. Like, I'm gutted that they weren't going to, that we're not going to get, like, Zoom was meant to be the big bad in the DC universe. That is brilliant, because Zoom is the ultimate bad guy. I fuck Darkseid, like, say, not really that bothered. Like, Zoom can literally take out everyone. He's a fucking scientist from the future and knows everything. Absolutely amazing.
But he's like a dick about it, which is also fun to watch.
and his weakness is he hates Barry Allen. He'll do it.
So he gets distracted.
Yeah, he could destroy everything, but he's like, Barry. It's like, he's
damn you, Barry.
Barry's not even that interesting. He's just a quick little shit. But yeah,
they did like a cool thing in like the Justice League cartoon where it was like the Flash hadn't really realized his powers, and I think he ends up like beating Darkseid because he like just like runs so fast, like he's around the world, he's like everywhere type of thing, and then he kind of gets like, oh no, I've gone too far, and I think phases out. But I like that idea of having Zoom, like someone who's mastered his speed powers, come back, and then Barry's like, "Oh shit! Like, wait, can we do this type of thing?" But not have any time to like react.
Bless.
I think at the end, Ant just said, "Call me when Wally's in it."
He's a Wally West fan.
Yeah.
To be fair though, that like we've got so many things. I would even, to be fair, I would have been happy if they brought Jesse in just for a bit, Jesse Quick. But yeah, it was a movie.
Yeah.
I didn't
me and Ant didn't hate it. It was put it this way, wasn't Aquaman.
To be fair though, there's two things that saved it. Supergirl was badass in it. I absolutely love
so good. So good.
And Michael Keaton, seeing him as Batman. The sad thing is as well, there's a whole movie out there that's been made with Michael Keaton as Batman in that we'll never fucking see, which is Batgirl. Which the rumours is, if it's as bad as they say it, fair enough. But Michael Keaton deserves let us to see it. Just put it on the streaming device.
Let us have the opinion. Don't just tell us what you think it's going to be shit. Let us make our minds up on it.
Yes.
That's my plea to DC. Please, James Gunn.
Bring back straight to DVD movies.
Yeah.
Poor James Gunn, he's getting so much hate at the moment. Like the Rock's after
He'll
him.
ride it out. Honestly, he will ride it out. It was his birthday yesterday as well. Happy birthday, James Gunn.
He's a weird one. I can't really get a handle on like what he cares about and what he doesn't, because he seems to really care about Guardians and Suicide Squad, but then he does other weird stuff, and I'm like, huh? Is it just like, he maybe just likes ragtag group things, and he just won't put up with anything else.
Like the cast he's put together for Superman Legacy, like it's a big cast as well. It's not just like Superman versus this guy. Having Nathan Fillion in as what's he called now? I know he's not Hal Jordan, but he's like one of the dickhead lanterns and stuff like that. One of the arsehole
He's not playing Hal.
Kyle Rayner.
Kyle Rayner, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like the American Army one.
Is Kyle Rayner the one on Darkest? Is it Darkest Night?
Possibly.
I should know. I walk past this poster every day. We've got it on our wall.
all the white lanterns kind of look the same. Like, let's face it. Like, there's only Jon Stewart who stands out.
Moving on sideways, except stage left. But yes.
Yeah.
So Sammy, do you want to do your disclaimer?
I most certainly will.
Yes.
So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the comment section where we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxicity out of nerdism. My God.
Well, it's been a while since you've done it, yes.
No, I do it every fucking week on Monsters, and I fucked it up last week. I fucked it up
because you didn't call yourself the Master of Scaremonies.
Master of Terramonies.
Oh, I like them both. They work.
Tired. We'll just have to like Photoshop some fangs on your face and stuff, and like start turning you actually into the Bride of Frankenstein.
Photoshop? I'll just do it.
They're in there.
Yeah, I'll be method.
So yes, so this week we are doing top 5 adventure movies. Now, before we get into it as well, because I think this is also an open discussion, what would you class as an adventure movie? Because like the typical ones we'll probably discuss as well, but there are so many different movies or anything that could be classed as an adventure movie.
Yeah. And this is the conversation I've had to deal with Carol and try and not justify, but walk through my idea. And like one that I didn't pick, and I used as an example was Hunger Games. And Carolyn was like, oh, but it's dystopia. It's, and I says, yes, but Katniss is also, when she's in the games, is in an adventure, technically. Like, it's still an adventure. She still has to go from like point A to point B, and there's all this stuff that happens in between. And she went, oh, I get that if you like splitting it into 2 parts. But that was my thinking when I thought of my list and how I kind of like, yes, you can have anything going on around it that could be classed as sci-fi, even horror, such like that. But if there's something that gets them from point A to point B and stuff happens in the middle, then that's how I determine
adventure. Yeah, I think like Hunger Games hits it because one of them is like, stranger in a stranger it's like stranger in a strange land, because she gets took out of her like home city and plonked in this weird world that she's like totally not used to. I think that's a good mark of like an adventure, when like the main character gets taken away from the home type of thing and they've got to learn all of the new stuff.
Absolutely.
No, good. Like I say, that's glad we're on the same wavelength as well, because like I say, my list, it's probably been the easiest list I've done in a while, but there's probably been more interchangeables, because there's probably ones I thought, this is on for this reason, this is on for that reason. Oh, I quite like this one. So this one, I could have had a list of 10, but like I say, there's probably ones I've left off just because we've talked about recently as well. But it's always going to be, like I say, a difficult one, so it's always going to be different. I'm going to be a little bit greedy. I'm going to start us off. Yes,
kick it off.
I am going to be, like I say, a bit of a diva, shall we say? So no, not a diva. Which I will call myself Goodwill, Goodwill is the diva of the with
Goodwill.
all the demands and all the the petulant behaviour. Guys, you can't believe
Goodwill
the tantrums we get behind the scenes if we
You
don't
have
give
no idea, people.
if we don't give Goodwill what he wants. Jesus Christ. I'm probably going to get beaten as well. This is the thing. So
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
He's being very brave, is Paul, right
no,
now.
I feel in a safe space. I can reach out and save myself here.
I, for one, enjoy working with Goodwill.
Is he like a hypnotoad now? It's like you will be next
It
time.
is like a red dot psych on me
Yeah,
right
it's just
now.
getting bigger and bigger.
But yes, he is a twat, though. Let's be honest.
He's a twat that we love very much. Let's make that very clear before we start this.
Debatable, but yeah. So my first pick is the greatest movie that involves walking, involves short people. It has the best, not special effects, but practical effects ever used. And this movie is the reason why I love cinema. And you travel to a far-off world where over the rainbow the skies are still blue. So yes, The Wizard of Oz. Haha, fuck off. It is the best film about walking because you're walking along the yellow brick road, and it's just so magical, and you can take it in so many different ways. There's so many different interpretations of this movie as well. I know Sam hates it. Sam doesn't like the movie.
I'm not. No, Carolyn recommended. Carolyn, she was shooting out one. She went Wizard of Oz. I was like, absolutely not. You know how I feel about this film, but I know fine well it will be on Paul's list. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a Paul's list without not having The Wizard of Oz. I'm laughing because people generally thought you were going to say that.
Lord of the Oz.
There's a lot of bait and switch in this in my list there, but yes, so it's like give them a little bit and take it away. But yes, I
love it. Brilliant.
For anyone who has who has a passion for movies and not just new ones, the classics, you can't help but be transported when you watch this movie. There is something special about this movie, and and even if you read about the shit that goes on behind the scenes, like we got Donna and Goodwill so excited last time when we talked about the Munchkin orgies, how one of them nearly died after being drowned off a drug overdose in a toilet. All this is factual things. The Munchkins were the evilest people on the set for The Wizard of Oz, where they had to actually keep them away from Judy Garland because there were that much of a sex pest around her. They kept it bordered on harassment. It probably was harassment these days. Those Munchkins were terrifying people. Was
it basically like they were like a troupe of wrestlers, like carnival folk, basically?
I think there were a lot of carny folk there. And
where you can't trust them around like polite company.
So it was basically like if you get them fueled with alcohol, they went fucking ape shit. So
that does sound like sort of like old school wrestlers.
Yeah, it does.
But yes, it's just fantastic. Like again, talking about bait and switch. Like you get in the whole black and white, and as soon as it changes, it goes to Oz, and you get the Technicolor. That just imagine seeing that and being the time when that came out. Like say what year was it? 1939. When this film came out, seeing that on the big screen on the movies, because it's not like now. Well, it probably is like now how expensive it is to go to movies. It's like a bit of a treat. You can't go every week to see it.
Yeah.
So it was like probably once in a year thing for a lot of people, and seeing that on the screen would have changed a lot of people's lives. I remember when watching it as a kid and just being mesmerized and falling in love with Judy Garland and that voice and that everything, and being terrified of the Wicked Witch and being happy as Larry when she got water pulled over and melting, and that adventure as well, seeing as you said, the people you meet on the adventure, making new friends, and then the scary parts. It is one of the quintessential adventure movies that has ever been made.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a super interesting one as well, because I feel like I kind of missed out, because by the time I was old enough to be watching stuff, people were already parodying this in every cartoon at the time.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw a million parodies first before I saw the real thing. But yeah, like that thing about the change into color can't really be understated, because like most people wouldn't have had like color televisions to even see that like it in any form, and so you'd go to like this special like movie presentation and then just be like,
go to the picture house,
watch a talkie.
talkies.
But yeah, like it's like it really is one of those moments in like cinema history, like because you think about it, they had the ability to do color, but they decide to start the movie like in black and white. It's just like, it's such a good idea. Like
it is one of my favorite scenes. I don't know why I have very little love for this movie. Don't get us wrong. I love the fact that it's one of Paul's favorites. I love the fact that it's one of my best friend's favorites, but I just, for some reason, I don't get the magic and the warm fuzzy feelings from it. Maybe just because I'm dead inside, who knows? But
is it because you relate to the Wicked Witch instead of Dorothy?
Potentially, like I do feel sorry for her, It's
to be fair, I feel sorry for the cast. What was it like for the snow? They used asbestos. So, like say during like the poppy scene, like say they
were technically off their face.
Yeah, they kept Judy Garland on drugs so that she wouldn't eat and drink too much. So she wouldn't.
They were doing that well before the Wizard of Oz and well afterwards as well. But the scene when it changes and you're going into. Not when it changes. It's when you first go into the Emerald City and you see the horses for the first time.
The horse of every colour.
Yes, and I was like, I well into my horses when I was a kid, and I
just remember being. If you watch back to My Little Pony, what she used to do with the My Little Ponies.
Yep.
Call back.
I'm not explaining it again. You'll have to go and find the episode and listen to it.
Is the episode deleted? Who knows? That's the fun of the game.
Yeah. Yep, find out. And if you remember, let us know in the comments. But
la 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 la.
Yeah, the technical on the horses, that's what got us. That was the moment. That was the only moment I had in there where I was like, oh, look at that. That's fucking breathtaking. The purple. It was the purple. I always remember the purple because it was very much like the same kind of shade in purple in a Mary Poppins scene. And I fucking love Mary Poppins. So I just love that.
Cool. So that's my first pick, number one.
What a lovely way to start it.
The best movie about walking.
It spawned one hell of a musical as well, which is its own adventure. From a different point of view.
To be fair though, we're getting the movie next year, isn't it?
Or it's like going to be a Disney Plus thing, but special.
I'll watch it. I'm sick of hearing Defying Gravity, but I'll watch it.
Go on, see if you hit the note. Go on, hit the note, Sammy. Go on.
Fuck that.
Defying Gravity.
All has illusions of grandeur.
Because you're so popular.
Oh, is that what that's off?
Yeah.
I see clips of Kristen. Oh, I can't say her surname, but
where.
Yeah. I will just call her Easter.
Yes.
I see her on TikTok all the time singing it, and I did not know that was from. I've never seen Wicked. I've never been interested in it. I just obviously know Defying Gravity.
Yes. It's cool. I liked it. I've been to see it. And that there, London.
You was already in there, London, did you?
Yeah.
London town, yes. The London performance is better. Like, say that actually, when you walk into the theatre's lights and everything's all in emerald.
Yeah.
You've got a Victoria, isn't it? London Victoria.
Yeah, I can remember it was like definitely like an old looking theater as well, which I love. It's always good when you wander into like an old theater and you're like, oh, cool.
I wear a lot of green, so like honestly, I've just glancing over at all the dresses I can see are green dresses. So I do kind of like, maybe I will enjoy.
Do you have a proclivity to flying primates?
And that was a secret, Jake.
I was going to say, I haven't seen Anth out and about in a while. He's busy flying through the
He's working on the science.
He's the mad scientist in the back.
Getting all the animals to stop talking. But yes, so The Wizard of Oz is my first
lovely way to start it.
Cool. So who's
I'll
going
go
next?
last, so Jake can go next.
Okay.
Sam's taking a risk.
Mine is it's a big one from like from the 90s, so it would have been like when I was a kid. You know what happens, you're just sitting around, you hear some kind of like rumbling in the house, you find a mysterious board game, perhaps.
Oh,
It's Jumanji.
Oh, you could have really drawn that out.
Or what people go back and say Lockdown 2022. Yes. When someone started playing that game, but yeah.
God, yeah. But honestly, like Jumanji's, it's so cool when you're a kid. I mean, I still like it now, but it's got like everything right at the start. You know, it's got like mystery. It's got like, it's got your classic like, 80s and 90s movie protagonist where everyone hates them, and like, the dad's like a dick and they're like, nobody understands me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, he gets pulled, he time travels kind of technically. But yeah, I suppose if anyone doesn't know, it's an evil board game that can either trap people inside it if you roll the wrong dice. I don't know. He didn't really get a fair shake on that one.
No,
Alan Parrish.
Alan Parrish was very much screwed out of that roll of the dice there.
Yeah, because it all hinged on the person he was playing with like taking her turn.
Yeah,
and then she quite rightly just ran the hell away from that house.
Oh bless! But
yeah, so then he's shot back into the future because some new children find the game, the evil game, and start playing it.
Now you keep saying evil like it's a bad thing that this all happened.
Or do you think Jumanji is benevolent and it's the children that are wrong?
Teach the children a lesson.
Yeah, they should don't mess around with things that's not theirs.
If there's a board
Isn't
game
that the lesson?
and some dice, I'm gonna roll them.
I love the things that Jumanji spawned. Like say Jumanji still holds up now. I know, like say the special effects, like the certain. I think the vine
some
things,
of them.
the vines
isn't
that perfect, but it's more the memories, and like Robin Williams was on top form on this. But the stuff we got from Jumanji as well, like I loved the cartoon that was on Nickelodeon.
It was like the art style was super like interesting, wasn't it? Like dead like sharp lines and stuff. Yeah,
it was very different, but it was more showing like what was like in Jumanji. And I'll admit, I fucking love the sequels. That came
I've
after.
not seen the newest one. I've not seen the newest one, but I really enjoyed the first one. It's the guy who's explaining the game when they all go into it.
He's in New Zealand, isn't he? He's from New Zealand.
Yeah, he's a Kiwi, and
Is he not one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords? Isn't that
I
like
think so,
Jermaine
because he's
whatever?
also in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think he does work with them, but I love that scene so much. Like it tickles my funny bone, just especially when he's on repeat.
Yeah, like it was really smart of them to just update it and be like, yes, now it masquerades as a video game console. Because if this is some kind of like evil spirit, like of course it would change for the time.
Why is everything so evil, Jake?
But we don't get like there's no explanation. Is it an evil spirit that takes the game, or is it just basically some voodoo?
Why have I never looked beyond the point that this could be like an evil spirit? Like it just is for me.
It's more that it's like a curse, right? Because it's like you start playing and then you're like bound to finish the game basically.
Did anyone see the unofficial sequel that came out?
What, Zathura?
Zathura or something like that, but it was like Jumanji but in space.
People said it was good, but I didn't.
No,
it felt like a straight to DVD kind of deal.
It should have been if it wasn't. I don't know if it did get a cinema release, but it had that guy out of Without a Paddle and stuff like that. He's married to
Dak Shepard.
Dak Shepard, the worst comedian I've ever seen. Yes,
that movie is terrible.
He was funny in his episode in Always Sunny, but that was about it.
But yes,
they just elevate people. Like if anyone shows up in that show,
they lift them up.
I'm trying to think as well. Was this thingy's second appearance? What's it called?
Kirsten Dunst.
Oh God, yeah, Kirsten
Possibly.
Dunst. The first thing she ever did was Interview with a Vampire. I could be very wrong with that, but that is the one that she's really well known for.
Yeah.
And didn't she do Stepmom? Was that Kirsten Dunst with Susan Sarandon and Julie Roberts? Yeah.
I don't know. I was just more concentrating on the mums in that one.
Do you know what? When it comes to children actors, Evan Rachel Wood and Kirsten Dunst have such a look of each other that it kind of like throws us a little bit. So I could be completely wrong with that one. But
yeah. Plus, she was only in the start because she was like the young version, like she was like in the past, I think, wasn't she?
no, she's the older. No, she's the in.
Oh, is she one
now.
of the modern? Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
No.
But yeah, like it's like I do love that part though, where they have to try and find the girl who was traumatized by Jumanji.
Yeah.
And she's like spent loads of money on therapy and like getting over things and is into like crystals and stuff. And then they show up and she's just like, no. This is not real. I've spent like so much money like to get this out of my brain.
I just feel like she's me now. Using the crystals to get over it.
But like,
were you trapped in Jumanji, or did you watch someone get trapped in Jumanji? Sammy?
Who knows? Can't tell. Evil spirits and everything.
Maybe we need to do a monsters episode on the board game.
You should.
I got a Ouija board.
Spoilers now.
It creates. I mean, to be honest, it creates like mass hysteria in the town. Like the monkeys get out and start shooting guns at the policemen.
Them fucking monkeys.
And like, and the worst part about Jumanji is it taunts you as it's going on, because it's like you like pops out these little riddles that you read that give you like a hint to what's coming next.
And you're trying to think of it, but it's already just about to happen. And you're like, no, just wait, I'll get it, I promise.
And the friggin' house is full of spiders. And
I don't like the spiders, yeah.
No, we're good.
But practical spiders as well.
It was the first film where you actually saw, like, because in Hollywood they're renowned for casting kids that look nothing like the adults as well. But the kid they used actually looked like a young Robin Williams. So you kind of bought into that as well.
Yeah. And like I say, it was your very like standard like sad tale of a child who gets bullied, but then he gets even worse things happening to him.
Yeah.
But then he does have a happy ending.
But he gets to go back and do it all over again. So he doesn't just stay as he is. He gets to go back and be the kid and have the life and stop the parents from getting on the plane.
And doesn't he like work the stock market or something because he becomes rich at the end?
That fucking house. Hey, let's get into trainers. We're missing something here.
And he saves the kid's parents because he tells them not to go on the trip that kills them.
Yeah. What was it
which
called?
is against Final Destination laws, but you know.
This is Jumanji laws.
To be fair though, in the next Jumanji, Tony Todd will come back and tell them it's time to die.
Really taking a fucking turn here. This is
did anyone notice as well that like the hunter that comes out is like his dad basically?
Yeah.
It's like a little bit
homage,
of cerebral stuff there, like.
But yes, no, definitely. Jumanji is a good pick. It's probably is one of the like definitely unusual adventures. It's one of them ones where they don't really go far, but they probably learn a lot from it.
It's like the horrible world comes to them, doesn't it? Like the strange new world comes out into the real world.
Yeah. For me, it's one of those films where I'll never go seeking it to put it on. Yeah. But if it's on, I can't turn it off. Like I'm watching it.
Yeah. I was like that with Kindergarten Cop when it used to be on Channel 5 all the time.
Fuck no, I'd watch that anyway.
Boys have got a penis, girls have got a vagina. Oh, yes.
There is no bathroom.
Kindergarten Cop. Yes. So yes,
that's going to have to be like a top 5 action stars acting with children or something.
Yeah, let's break it down even further. So we've done action. Now we do action stars who've worked with children. These all can't pick Kindergarten Cop.
So how many Look Who's Talking was there? Was there 3?
Was there 4?
I don't know. I can't remember that. I know John Travolta was in the first 2.
Oh yeah. Then it was like I think there was then 3, then animals.
Yeah. So there was Look Who's Talking, Look Who's Talking 2, and Look Who's Talking Now. I think it was called.
Yeah, which was like the cats and dogs, and it's like, oh yes, you're gonna work this joke for 2 hours later.
Hey, it had Kirsten. Was it Kirsten Stewart? Not Kirsten Stewart.
Kirstie
Allen and John Travolta. Yep. Where their careers went before, so yes.
Oh God, Kirstie Alley's dead.
Yes. Oh. she's up there with Princess Di and all the angles. Yes.
She's with the angels.
She got took back to the mothership because wasn't she a Scientologist? Sorry, I shouldn't be making jokes.
You're gonna get sued.
They're gonna be
if this turns off now, you know why.
Yeah,
You've crossed the line with a Scientologist.
They're going to be watching us out the window now, aren't they? The bastards.
Look who's talking Scientology right off. Got it. Tax right off.
Done.
Yes.
But Sam can have a pick now that we've digressed.
Oh, well, I'm gonna bring it back round to Paul's, and this is a walking movie, and this did come out in 2001, and it did spawn one of the greatest trilogies of all fucking time. I don't care what any of you say. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the most predictable picks I'll make today. It is Lord of the Rings. Sorry, guys.
No, but
we're picking
which
Fellowship,
one?
though.
Which one?
All. You said I could only have...
No, I did not. Jake, what did I say, Jake?
You said it had to be treated as separate movies, so you have to pick one.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said. Oh my god, I read that the total wrong way around. I said to Ant today that I could only pick it as a one thing.
No.
Okay, then. Okay, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
Cool.
Okay,
it's an easy pick. For all that I love.
I would go Fellowship, but that's cool.
But I love the Fellowship, but it's only up until they create the Fellowship that I'm kind of like, okay, that's like my favorite scene. And then after, I do love the Mines of Moria. That is good. But you can't beat the Battle of Helm's Deep.
And so you're a big battle fan.
Oh, yes. And I love Theoden's return from the dead. I love that whole scene.
And Aragorn being a cock teaser as well.
I know. I know. That part can't be helped, you know. He really wasn't reading the signs. That's the problem.
I think he was. I didn't think he liked the attention. He wanted all of it to be about him.
He hadn't had it for a while, let's be honest. But
I suppose that's the one where they introduced Gollum as well, isn't it?
Properly,
yeah.
Properly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm not, you know, I don't get us wrong, like Samwise is my guy, always will be my guy. I'm watching the Two Towers for when they're at is it Rohan? Rohan.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? That's what I'm watching it for. Like the Battle of Helm's Deep is one of my favorite battles. If I can have a favorite battle, that is it. I couldn't pick Return of the King. I've got a massive argument in the car on the way home. Because he was saying, because I generally thought you meant I just had to treat it as a whole and not just pick one. So that's why I said the Lord of the Rings. And he says, yes, but then you get the Death Army. And I says, I know, but I says, what it's showing you really is Tolkien's writing skills at this point. And he went, yeah, it is, because he got himself into a fucking hole and he couldn't get out of it. And this is why he had to create the Death Army. That's how we did it. That's how we got, and
then he created eagles as well. So
no, he already had the eagles. They were already there. If you notice, that's how.
Didn't get in the fucking Mordor, though, did it?
No, because then, as Tolkien said, what's the fuck? That's the end of the story.
Take the eagles out. I don't want the eagles in.
But then you need to get Gandalf off the thing. They needed to be there, but. I get it.
Treebeard could have helped him. Treebeard was an interest, but even the fucking trees walked in the movies. Come on.
Yeah, it's lower than everyone else as well.
But they still walk. And
I do like that part though, where like they're like sitting in the tree court. That's probably like Paul in real life watching the movies, like falling asleep when the trees are having a really slow conversation and they're just like, please help us.
And then just.
Yeah.
He's a dick.
To be fair though, Two Towers is the better movie because it's the one with the least walking in.
It's the one with the least Frodo story in it. Let's be honest, because and I don't get us wrong. Like I get the reason why we're there for Lord of the Rings is because we're there to destroy this ring, but there's so much more going on in this world that like. That's just a tiny part that I could honestly quite take out of all the films and not be mad about it, apart from the Shelob bit, because that's one of my favorite scenes. But I love, is it Theoden? Am I saying that right? I could be saying that wrong.
That's right.
None of us are going to pick you up on it. But like, I'm kind of like, did you, when you first saw it or whatever, like, did you like enjoy it? Because I'm one of those people where I didn't like Lord of the Rings at first, like until I'd seen the extended version, which I know is a tall ask.
I've done the extended versions in a day.
But did you watch the regular theatrical cut first and enjoy it?
I went to the pictures to see it. I got a bad neck because at the time this was what everyone was going to see. So you had to let's all go and see it, and it sold out. So the only seats you had was like at the front and near the thing because we didn't used to pre-book back at the time. We used to basically go and get what tickets were available. So
General
I remember
admission.
sitting like this. Going, my neck fucking hurts. Will this
When will
fucking
it end?
Oh God, I wasn't like that at all. So I remember being at where Bolton Cinema is, and it used to be Virgin, and they used to have the Virgin Megastore there. They used to have like where all the figures and the posters and that were.
Yeah.
I remember flicking through them, and there was just an image of a black poster with the ring in the middle. This is well before a fucking trailer or anything had came out. I lost my shit. That poster was fucking bought. And then my ex worked at the cinema at Bolton, so I got to see them all the Friday before they came out, and then would repeatedly go and see them over and over again. I've probably seen these at the cinema more times than I've seen them at home.
Sam's the reason you couldn't get tickets on opening day.
It's because I was there. I was there taking up the seats.
With friends and family.
Yeah, but I absolutely loved it. I was quite impatient at the time. Like now I get pacing and I get that we have to wait. And Game of Thrones has taught me a lot about that because fuck me, had to wait a lot of years for certain stuff to come out with them. But I was so impatient. I wanted the next one straight away because I haven't actually read the books.
It's a lot of singing. There's a lot of songs in the books that just don't. That's what they're like.
After the first movie, I started reading like the Two Towers book.
Oh, really?
And like, unfortunately, the Fellowship movie goes further into the book series than. Yeah. So like, you start off Two Towers, and it's part of the end of the Fellowship movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, I'm reading the thing I've just watched in the cinema again, and it's drawn out and much longer, and I'm like a teen, so I'm not really ready for this.
I do. It's like one of the books that I want to read. Like, you know, I did Harry Potter last year, and I'm doing the Hunger Games now, which is a pretty easy read, and I'm loving it.
I feel like they're almost like reading like, you know, university text, like, if that makes sense. Like, you have to be like in a learning mood.
my dyslexic eyes can't take the small letters either sometimes, so it takes us a little longer to read small text.
It didn't help that Tolkien made up his own words for a lot of stuff as well. So like, he actually created words for the book as well. With
a lot of apostrophes in and stuff like that.
But
I think I'd be used to it with like Game of Thrones, because George R. R. Martin obviously took a lot of inspiration from Tolkien, and he's done exactly the same thing.
The only thing,
like the shadow that like Lord of the Rings has cast over like fantasy as a genre is like massive. Like D&D is just basically rip off of like everything Tolkien. It was just it was like they were making fan fiction, really. They were like, what if it continued on?
That's more
but I don't see that as a bad thing, though. I really don't. I think it's
dead
like
interesting.
Massively, and it's such a huge prop to Tolkien as well. Like, he wasn't perfect. Like, he really wasn't perfect.
Yeah, I think my biggest there's a few issues I've got, and I'm not going to be a dick and to say, it's shit. It's not. It is a masterpiece. There is absolutely brilliance in these movies, the performances and stuff like that. But my thing that not upsets me, but everything that comes out now afterwards that's in the fantasy realm is always compared, and I know that is always going to happen because nothing's ever going to live up to Lord of the Rings. Let's be honest, nothing, unless they remake it again and they put another 12 hours of walking in it again. But like, the subtle things that annoyed us is like things, it's the same things that annoyed us with Game of Thrones. The things that you wanted them to take the time with and be patient with, they rushed. Like things like Aragorn, you thought he was dead, and then 5 minutes back, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm back." It's like, you could have played that out a lot more, and it would have had a better impact. But again,
it would have had a huge impact, especially the scene that when he walks through the door. I remember getting. You remember when you got gifts in cereal? and it had a hologram of him walking through. I used to sit for fucking hours just watching him walk through this door.
Watching and flicking, guys. Watching and
Vigo.
flicking. But yes.
He's got a look about him, that man.
But yes. So
yeah. Two Towers. If I have to pick one out of the three, it's Two Towers.
Cool. Very good. So back to me.
I was gonna say, like, I like the Hobbit town stuff, like the boar and stuff. So I like the first one.
Anytime someone says the Hobbit, I always instantly get the Hobbit music in my head and just want to just flunked around everywhere.
Loads of people with the shoes off, hairy feet, and just enjoying like nice food. Yes,
I can't show it, but yes, I do have my shoes off.
He's no longer Nerdy Jesus. He is now the Hobbit of the podcast. He's not short, guys. Don't worry. But yes.
It's not Bilbo, Sam, and more Sam.
Oh no! So he's gonna have 17 million endings. But yeah, just one ending would have done. But yeah, sorry.
Get it out.
Get it out.
Just get it out of your system.
Right. So I'm going to take us back to the 80s.
Oh.
Right. So again, I'd like to say one of the greatest adventure movies that has ever been shown on screen. It involved a group of kids going on an adventure where the parents don't know what they're doing.
Best kind, yep.
Yep. And it's called, well, it had two names, shall we say. It had a UK name and an American name. So I believe in America it was called Adventures in Babysitting.
All right.
And I think in the UK it was called A Night on the Town.
I think you're right.
Yes.
Because I'd never heard of like the Adventures of Babysitting, but that explains why. Until I learned what it was.
It's one of them. It's not a PG 80s film. It would have been a 12 because there is some bad language and like some adult kind of humor in this, but for just absolute fun and just chaotic 80s like adventure movie, it is absolutely brilliant, and it stars the amazing Elizabeth Shue, who I still have the biggest crush on to date.
Hasn't changed.
No, she is absolutely gorgeous. But the soundtrack for this is brilliant. The kids aren't annoying. They've got the right level, and it's predictable as fuck. Like, it is one of the most predictable things, but it was one of the first films that I watched as well that mentioned Marvel superheroes in, so I got really excited because the little girl in it, who is fucking adorable, she's obsessed with Thor. But in the car as well, she mentions Daredevil because she's getting all excited about going to New York. She's like, "Oh, we're going to see Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and shit like that." It's like, fuck yeah, I'm relating heavily to this. And as being a teenage boy who used to have crushes on the older lady, still kind of happens. I related so much to, like, say, Brad, the character in this as well, because he had a crush on the babysitter. But everything that could go wrong in a night that should have been just simple and easy, like, did go wrong. There's basically one hooked mechanics that's trying to kill someone that's fucking his wife. There's basically carjackers, there's mafia guys, there's Playboy covers, there's a cheating boyfriend. It's everything that the 80s had and in abundance, and it's just one of the most fun movies you will ever see.
Agreed. It is Dan's favorite movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
She fucking loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And Anne suggested it today, and I went, I can't pick that. One, because I know Paul's picked it because he's watched it over the last couple of days, and two, because I've only ever seen it once. Mm-hmm. And to me, if I've only watched it once, I've not watched it at all because I have the worst memory in the world. So I couldn't. When you've just mentioned stuff there, it's like kind of come back to us. Mm-hmm. I do remember at the end of this, I was like, I think we watched this and Monster Squad on the same night, and I was just like riding that 80s fucking high throughout the whole thing. It was a magical night.
But yes, like, everyone in it just like it's not a complicated movie. It is very much like silly by numbers, but it's got so many iconic bits in it as well. I don't know if Jake's seen this movie or remembers this movie.
Just once, same as Sammy, and it was probably like when I was a kid.
It's when they go into the blues club, like for the back entrance, and they go on the stage and they try and leave, and the sing goes, everyone sings the blues, and you see the panic, but then they start singing the Babysitter Blues, and like it's so much fun and so hilarious. But and then
I do remember that part, and it's almost like parodied in Wayne's World, like in a similar kind of thing.
Or even like it might have been just a joke in like 80s movies thing, because remember the Blue Oyster in Police Academy, they go in the club and they've got to dance with the men and stuff like that. It's like if you go into fanboys, if you go into like say an American club, you've got to play by their rules apparently. So
yeah.
Whereas you would just get tackled by bouncers now if you like ended up on stage accidentally. But back then they would turn the spotlight on and be like, "Hang on,
if you want to be up there, you're gonna have to dance for it."
Yeah, do the strip, but yeah, Adventures in Babysitting, and like watching it back like the other night, it's still entertaining, it's still fun, and it reminds you of a time in the 80s where they were making stupid movies like these. They weren't looking to making sequels. They weren't worried about franchises. It was just a fucking good movie that you wanted to watch.
Similar times.
Yes.
Like some of the stuff you were saying there, like was bringing sort of memories of like Uncle Buck in as well, where it's just like, unlikely, like looking after the kids, everything goes wrong. And it's just like nowadays people would like pick apart movie plots and be like, that wouldn't happen, or like you'd get arrested for that. But I feel like in the 80s, like you didn't care as much. And maybe in real life you could get away with a little bit more before like the authorities got involved.
It was the weekend at Bernie's effect, I think. But
yeah, but that's a major crime.
Yeah, you'll get wrong for that. But yeah, and having Vincent D'Onofrio, I can't say it. Who plays Kingpin? He's been in loads of big like movies now. Is unrecognizable in this movie, where he plays a mechanic who looks a lot like Thor, and he's got long blonde hair and everything. And it's like, wait there, you're Kingpin, but really you're Thor. But yes,
it's
how's that for a multiverse?
it's actually mentioned on this week's episode of Monsters that is the only Thor that Dan will recognize is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes. Well, you can let Dan know if you can let Dan watch this one. Let know we do mention Adventures with Babysitting, so she might enjoy it. So yes, so that's my second pick.
Good strong pick. Jacob,
going back to me. Okay, mine is also a silly movie adventure. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Controversial though, because
do you think
you didn't pick the first one, but I love the second one.
Yeah,
it's
like
the best out of the two.
Don't get me wrong, absolutely love like the first one, but I think it's the fact that instead of like historical figures, it's like obviously like they go to hell and heaven and everything, and you get like a bit more of a weird glimpse of the future. And yes, I have seen the third one, so I'm picking my favorite.
I've seen it, and I don't mind the third one. It's just it is what it is. It's a bit of fun. We had it on the Sunday we were away at the cabin, and we had it on, and I've never seen my mom so angry at a movie before.
Really?
Like, so angry. Like, they'd look like...
And I do like to see your mom angry.
Like, they've just taken a massive shit on the whole franchise. I was like...
On the majesty of Bill and Ted.
We're there. And Connor Reeves going, dude...
Like, what did you expect? But yeah, I've never seen the woman so angry. Well, but I love the second one.
Yeah, so like this was like a big one of those movies that like a watch with your dad type of movie for me, because like he would have got all of like the musical references and then taught me them, like how like to get into heaven they have to like I can't remember what they have to, what is the meaning of life?
Yeah.
And they start like doing the lyrics like every rose has a thorn and stuff like that. And they actually get like let in.
Oh god.
And it's just death as well.
Yes.
Like
I love death.
When the Rorschach death.
Yeah, like they get the whole like, like, oh, you've got to challenge the Reaper, like, and they're like, because obviously they're like dumbasses from the 80s. They're like, all right, well, like, we're not going to play chess. Like, what about Battleship? Like something way good
at Battleship.
And they lose everything. But
in Twister with like, all that comedy that comes from Twister.
They also have a Star Trek reference heavily running through. Yeah, the desert it's the fight with the.
Oh, is it that famous rock?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Where that all happens is when I'm so glad you got that from the music I was singing. Thank you.
Oh no, like that. I mean, that rock is like in like B movie history, like that kind of that desert area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, because I think there's a lot of shots. Isn't it that really famous like movie about the giant ants attacking? I'm sure one of those shots they've got like the ants coming over the horizon.
It is like a big location, but yeah, Star Trek was filmed there. Mum always points that out.
Yeah, and like in those little weird alien station guys, like that became a thing, and it's got like the Faith No More guitarist being like station.
I love how Goodwill's straight in there with exactly what the fight was.
I'm still
versus Gorn.
And again, like I say, sorry to play on type as well. It had a great stepmom in as well.
Oh yeah. And she's married like to a different dad every time.
And the third one, she marries his brother.
Yeah, the young
and they're
brother.
all okay with it. Like Bill and Ted are fine with this situation.
Yeah, like Bill and Ted are one of those things where like people, if they haven't like actually seen it, they'll be like, "Oh, it's just like a dumbass stoner comedy type of thing." But it's the kind of like the opposite. Like they're just like the massive himbos, basically. That they're fine with everything. They'll just like roll with stuff. Like obviously they're getting problems, like getting shipped off to military school. But yeah, just the whole concert at the end as well, where like it's like they're playing that Kiss song, "God Gave Rock and Roll to You." It's just so cool. Like it's like it's cheesy as anything, but it's like, yeah, what if a song was good enough to like unite the world? And then they kind of like they do sort of get rid of it in the new film, which is weird.
Because things change.
Yeah, but you could say it's like a commentary on time travel stuff. How it's like you can't change everything. It's always gonna like head back there.
George Carlin as Rufus as well. Like what an iconic
he's so cool.
Yeah.
His stand-up is some of the best stand-up ever created. Like he's
the opposite of Rufus in his stand-up.
massively. And especially in his Kevin Smith roles as well. But he's such
the laws of the road in them films. But
like I just love all the stupid like music references as well when they're like you'll get away from death. I'm like, hey Bill, don't fear the Reaper. like that kind of thing. But yeah, like it's one hell of a journey though, like through heaven and hell.
I love
Pasadena.
the bunny scene as well, and the with the Easter bunny. I love
horrible,
the bunny chasing after. I think it's fucking great.
Tell you what though, and this is going to sound really weird. Like I loved the first one, the Amazing Adventure, because it learned me how to. It taught me how to say shit in French. Because Napoleon was like saying murd, and it was like the subtitles for it was like shit. I was like, is that how you say it? So I used to get away with like saying shit a lot when I was a kid just by saying murd. So yeah.
I mean that stuff with Napoleon is pretty great.
Water polo.
I do that a lot with subtitled films when I realize a word in their language is the same in ours. So I always point out and they go, I know how to say this in Japanese, and it's the same word.
Ray loves that joke every time.
He fucking hates it.
Oh, bless.
I do it all the time.
Poor Ant. Like I said, I don't know why he puts up with you some of the times.
16 years. It's been 16 years.
And it's all documented on this podcast.
Sorry. We've got you, Ant. We'll look after you. Like I say, if you blink 3 times to know that you're still safe. But yeah.
That's if he ever came on here.
We'll see him next week in person. Like we'll make sure he's alive. That he's not got cigarette burns on his arm after the torturous Sam.
Wow. Great stuff.
So yes, Bill and Ted's not Excellent Adventure, but Bogus Journey.
Love that you picked the second one, Jake. Love it.
Yeah, I think it was just more silly, and there was more things that me and my dad used to say to each other from that movie. I think.
I think this one got more success because Excellent Adventure didn't come out in the cinema in the UK. Come straight to DVD. It's straight to VHS.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I just had them taped on a tape, like
on a tape from
both of
ITV.
them on a long play one, yeah.
I might be wrong, but I'm sure the second one came out the same time as Roger Rabbit, because I remember like being at the old ABC in the town. There was a double feature. You could either see Roger Rabbit and Bogus Journey.
That's one
yeah,
hell of a
that's
feature.
a day, that man. That's such a day.
Yes.
Love it.
Cool. So yes, so it's Sammy's second pick.
Okay,
it's The Hobbit.
The
nearly,
other two Hobbit films.
not quite, not quite. Mine. This next one is from help me out, 1991, and I am, as I have pointed out on numerous of our Disney talks, that I'm not a huge massive fan. Like, yes, I love them and I have a bit of nostalgia when it comes to it, but not the biggest one. But the one that I love the most story wise is Peter Pan, and I adore it so much. So I went with, I'm finding this very hard to introduce this. I went with the movie that was, I don't know, I watched it recently and I felt like I'd been taken back to being a kid and watching it for the first time because it was so fucking magical. I love Robin Williams in this film. I so wanted to have that pixie haircut like Julia Roberts. It is the 1991 Hook.
Amazing.
Nice
one of Robin Williams' biggest flops.
Which seems insane.
How.
Yeah. Yes. Rufio.
I don't understand
Rufio.
how.
Rufy.
Oh. I realized how much I was into goth culture when I clapped eyes on Rufio, because fuck me, did I want that black and red hair. I don't know. I watched it it's always been Peter Pan's always one of me special Disney movies and stories as well. I love the story. But I remember this has always been a back burner movie. I'd catch a glimpse of it now and again, but I never sat down and properly watched it. And it wasn't until maybe last year I sat and no phone watched it, was paying attention, and I cried throughout the majority of it because I just had them warm fuzzy feelings of I feel like such a fucking kid again. And it was lovely.
Yeah, which is the point of the whole movie, isn't it? Not to lose your childhood.
And I thought, having a movie with Robin Williams playing a grown-up Peter Pan is just genius. But the standout, Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook,
great.
I know Captain Hook's always been a great villain or a great character in Peter Pan, even in say the Barry books, even the cartoon.
Even Disney one, he's fucking class, man.
But this was amazing. Seeing this version of Captain Hook was just breathtaking. His interaction with Bob Hoskins, me.
Them two together is just, it's magic.
Yeah, when they're on the ship, he's Smee, I'm going to kill myself this time, and this time it's ready time. It's
stop me, Smee.
Why aren't you stopping me? And it's
it's the fact that even to this day, even till right now, at 40 years old, I still cannot see Dustin Hoffman behind that makeup.
No.
I still can't see him. I still can't make him out. Yeah, he's just a completely different person. I still can't picture Dustin Hoffman and I love Kramer versus Kramer, and that's the Dustin Hoffman that I can't fit into that makeup.
Yeah.
And that's just the epitome. It's good fucking makeup, and that's what I appreciate a lot in movies.
It still blows your mind that Glenn Close was a fucking pirate. And
yes,
it's what the fuck was going on there? But it's amazing.
She got the boo box, didn't she?
She got the boo box, yes, with the scorpions. But all of the things you don't really realize the references. It's he'll crow, he'll fly, he'll fight, and then he'll die. But it's got one of the most.
I love that laugh.
It's got one of the most poignant lines as well as to live is an adventure, but to die is the ultimate adventure and stuff like that. The interaction between
you just give me chills saying
that. Say Hook and Pan growing up, and the sword fighting as well. It was so well paced, and the Lost Boys, all the Lost Boys had great characters, and one of the best food scenes.
Oh my god!
That doesn't even like can't even put in words how hungry it makes you when you see that. You could be having it just after your tea and you're watching saying, I want that cake. That fucking
I want
turkey.
that blue ice cream.
Yeah. What is that goo they are eating? Just give me it. The colours, everything. I love Robin Williams. I'm not Mrs. Doubtfire is not my movie.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. And I'll always sit there and go, I don't get it. And there's a lot of Robin Williams movies that I don't get. Like I'm just not into, but this one is kind of like up there for me. I love him. I love him arrogant. I love him arrogant as, the businessman. I love him arrogant as Pan. Like there's there's so much arrogancy running through this movie that I love every aspect of it. Maggie Smith is Wendy Darling.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know, has Maggie Smith ever looked young? Who knows? But she looked phenomenal in this movie. The costumes in it, each and every Lost Boy had their own individual personality.
And Toodles found his marbles.
That was the same.
Toodles found his marbles.
Don't make us cry again.
I really like that scene. I really like that scene as well, where he's like in the Lost Boys den and stuff, and that one comes up to him and like touches his face, and it's like, it is Peter, like
smushes his face around and has to pull it back a bit, and
he checks him out properly.
There's one bit of the movie that I can't stand, and I believe they might have cut it out for a period of time and put it back in like they did with the Muppets, is the little girl singing. It actually sets my teeth on edge.
Is it like in The Grinch when it's like when the little girl sings and everyone fast forwards?
Yeah. Yes, I can well and truly go make a cup of tea at that point.
Or Cheer Up Charlie. It's like Cheer Up Charlie as well.
Don't you dare, man. Don't you dare. No one fast forwards Cheer Up Charlie.
We do.
I don't watch the movie, so it's okay. I'm not a fan of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory either. But yeah, that little girl scene with the singing, that it really just set my teeth on edge. But the baseball match,
run home, Jack! Run home, Jack! He stole the first base.
It's the fact that all the pirates as well, and the scenery and the sets and the
fucking crocodile.
With the watch in his mouth, I love this movie so much, but it's not one I want to over exaggerate myself with it all the time. I need time to breathe with it to get that magic back when I watch it again. And it definitely had to be on my list today. It is the ultimate one of them adventure.
It does hit harder when you're older as well, doesn't it? Because you can now relate to Peter. Whereas a kid, you were like, oh, you suck, Peter.
Exactly what
we're trying to be cool with these YouTubers that's 20-year-old and gets it. Yeah, boy.
We can still do it.
Boy.
None of us do this face enough.
So
we just hit out 10 million view. Yeah. No, sorry.
So yeah, Hook had to be on there. I don't know if it's a surprise or not. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before.
I think it quickly crossed my mind, but it I probably would have picked it if I'd thought more about it for sure.
It was just instant. If I think of adventure, this is my instant go-to because it has everything in there.
Yep.
When it comes to an adventure, that movie. So yeah, Hook.
Cool.
Number 2.
So it's funny enough, like I said, that ties in quite nicely with mine. Not the type of film, but with you saying instantly your first pick. This one I'm talking about now was my go-to. It was the first thing I could think of. It's as soon as you mentioned adventure, it reminded us so much of my childhood watching this and wanting to do this adventure. Probably wouldn't have survived, but just been mesmerized by this movie and how it was made. It's one of them things where I love watching how they made these movies. It was the 1981 Clash of the Titans.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Going off and saying having them people in it and all the different actors and actresses and having Greek it was Greek mythology. I was trying to make sure I get the right mythology right in there.
Yeah. But, it was a take on it though, not a super recognizable one for some things. I don't think they'd done like the Kraken as just a giant fish guy before.
No,
that kicks butt.
But like it was my first introduction into these type of characters, like as you said, Poseidon, Hercules. Hercules was in like Zeus, Calibus, and like all the different like Perseus and fucking Medusa. I was terrified of Medusa as a kid because of this film, and like it was Rehousing, building everything as well, like the stop motion, and as a kid. Like you don't know any better. You just think, how the fuck have they done this? Like, and how brilliant it was all done.
This is magic.
Yeah, movie magic. It literally is, and this led into like movies like Jason and the Argonauts and basically Eye of Sinbad as well.
The Golden Fleece and all that.
Like all these brilliantly made movies, but done so well before the time. Like they shouldn't have been able to make these movies at the time they made them. But Clash of the Titans just blew my mind, just story wise, and I know they remade it quite recently. Not as great, but like the big monsters like the Kraken and like Medusa were just over. I can't state like outwardly brilliant, and the whole premise of it, and having like Pegasus, the flying horse in it, and then I've forgotten the name of the owl now. What was the owl called? Wasn't Archimedes? Was it Archimedes? Because that's always the owl from.
I don't know, because that's the owl. If anyone says an owl, I just go Archimedes.
Right. Possibly
the only one I can think of.
But just all them different references. But yeah, it just takes us back to the childhood of watching them movies, and I love going back and watching this. It's as you said, if it's on TV. It doesn't get turned over.
Yeah. It's not one that I can remember watching a lot. I do remember it being there, don't get us wrong, but it was more Jason and the Argonauts that kind of got me. I'd remember being fascinated by the stop motion. And with my dad being an artist, like he used to make us watch Morph all the time. And
watch Morph again. You will be an artist.
He wanted to tell us how it all like worked.
Yeah.
And so he loves to explain things. So I love the fact of the practicality of it all. Like this is why I love practical effects so much for. But I feel like I haven't seen it for many years. I could dare say since I was a kid. I think I'd appreciate it now more as an adult.
Yeah, because I was thinking that in my head when like Paul was talking. I was thinking like I don't think I've seen these since I was a kid. And I probably wasn't paying attention to a lot of the dialogue or anything as a kid.
Yeah.
It was more about like the scene to scene, like the spectacle. But you're right, like obviously it's practical, but it's also like special effects really at the same time. But like there's just something like totally like otherworldly about how like the monsters move, because it's like, you know, frame by frame. But like there were terrifying models like that they were putting on screen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
I remember.
It's kind of like the Ghostbusters like library ghost level of like Medusa, so. Really.
God, that's still to this day scares my sister.
But like, yeah. But the lighting used as well, like it wasn't just building these models; it was like the cinematography and the lighting, like because you didn't really see the whole of Medusa, you saw the shadow and you saw her eyes. Like it was like the old letterbox type thing where you only see her eyes, like the old like say Bela Lugosi, Dracula versions where it's like trying to split out, like using,
just a light on his eyes,
using them type of old school cinematography and just doing it so well. And like the whole King Kong type of aspect when the Kraken's going after the damsel in distress, like in the water and stuff, and then as you said, your hero's got to save her. But honestly, like if you haven't watched it recently, go back and watch it now.
I will.
I'm just been mesmerized what they did back then.
Yeah.
And like I know you can go back and watch the new one and see how they are fucked up so badly.
No, I don't. No, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do original. I have a feeling this is something me and my granddad would have watched. Granddad was heavily into like Granddad was into like Granddad would watch anything. Like I'm not joking. Like the best memories I have of my granddad is just watching random shit. Like because he would just watch anything, and I just have a feeling
max volume.
Yeah, no, his hearing was quite good.
Oh my granddad wasn't.
My granddad was quite like when I think about it, my granddad was quite a young granddad when I was growing up because he was 65 when he died, and I was 17.
Yeah.
So when I was like growing up as a kid, he was like, for all he looked incredibly like old to me, like he wasn't actually that old, but he loved movies. He loved movies. He loved TV. I think that's where I really get it from. And this probably was one thing that I watched with him, or at least he had it on in the background at some point.
And like the influence of this kind of stuff's like massively still taken today. Like you said, there was a remake, which like fair enough might not have been like great, but it shows that the sort of the legacy has like cachet. But like I was just watching it the other day. There's an episode of like Gravity Falls, like the Disney cartoon, where they go to like basically stop motion characters get set free on the village, and they go to like the old Harryhausen guy's house who like made the movies, and it turns out like, you know, his creations were real back in the day, like that, you know, the skeletons were real, they were just like put in the movies and stuff. But like kids aren't going to get that reference. Like that's for people like our age and older to get.
I know there's a show is in there because I know
I was going to say,
go and see it in Edinburgh.
In Edinburgh in the museum.
It was me and Carolyn were going to go and see it, and we got distracted by a cemetery. That's right.
It's got I think it's still going. If you travel up to Edinburgh, it's in the museum, I believe. You can go and see the Harryhausen exhibition, and it shows like a lot of the work that he put in, stuff like that. And one of my friends has been, and he says it's absolutely amazing. But this is where, like, I know it sounds really weird. I was never neglected as a child, but I was more of a, like, if I was more put in front of a TV and said, watch like this to keep you quiet. Because, like I say, I used to be a dick when I was a kid. If I had too much, I used to have too much energy. So, like, say, movies and TV used to calm us down, which probably explains why I go quiet a lot these days. But I think, again, as probably known from watching this podcast or talking to us in general, I love anything to do with anything that was made in the 80s because of the risks and from like the experimentation that it brought from that time. And it's sad in a way that that's kind of lost these days, because there's not many movies now that comes out that haven't got a big like expectation behind it. Like, it's the next Marvel movie, it's the next Star Wars movie. It's
what could be the biggest blockbuster?
It's like, this is from this book. It's just like nobody seems to have got this, like, either make it fun or, like I said, I've got this fun story, let's see what we do. Like movies like License to Fucking Drive, like Corey Feldman, just a film about a kid who fails his driving test. I'm sorry, I'm going on a big ranting tangent now. Sorry. This should be for next week's episode. But we'll come back. I'll park and then come back later. But yes.
But yeah, like what you were saying about like the risks and stuff, and that, and when you were talking about like how instead of just showing the Medusa model, they were actually using like the cinematography tricks to be like, the audience also shouldn't look at Medusa for too long. It's kind of like it puts you like in the scene and stuff. Like it's kind of like all the stuff you guys talk about on Monsters, where there was like a real like artistry and like a ton of thought going in, because a lot of this stuff was like the first go of it. Like, it's really cool to like see that like be successful, not just like a weird joke.
Certainly. Yes.
Am I completely washed out on here because of this light? Like, fuck this light. It makes me look so old.
You don't look old. You just look like the goth queen, that's all.
You need to get the Morticia, like the ghosty light going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, just here, that'd be perfect. That
we'll stop it building that into the experience now. The Sammy experience, we'll call it. She gives you all the eyes, guys. But yes.
I give you one eye because the other one's lazy, and it's the one that doesn't really show on screen, so you can't see it.
It's the one eye she gets shot in a lot, but yeah.
Right, Jake's turn.
Is it back to me already?
Yes.
That was such a good pick, by the way. It really, I love when you bring stuff up like that, because it does make us think, oh, do you know what? I would fucking love this right now. Like, you know, if I'm like on a fantasy trip, like that's where I want to go to is movies like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Yes.
Okay. Mine's gonna be I'm pretty sure I've made this joke before on some stream, but A little independent movie called Star Wars.
Wow.
Which one though?
Episode 4, A New Hope.
All right. Not many people go for the first one.
Yeah, but
I would have gone for Phantom Menace, but that's a different show.
That's a bad adventure. No, but it's to me, I think like everything for Star Wars hit like perfectly for me, like as a child, because it was like I identified with Luke. Like obviously, I'm not orphaned or anything like that, but he was like a boy's like power fantasy. It's like the same kind of thing we see like over and over again. Oh hell yeah, Greedo!
If you want to do that, look who's easy to get a hold of now. It's Georgia.
Who shot first, bastards?
All my Star Wars stuff have been moved.
I don't have a prop. But like it's like it was basically like the story kind of beats have been repeated again and again, like hero's journey. It's like a very famous thing, but also like shows up in like everything, like Harry Potter. It's like it's that kind of fantasy where you're like, I wish I was this kid who was like thrust into like the magical world of space wizards. and like it's got everything that makes the journey sort of hard and easy for him. Like he loses all of his ties, and then he's like, and then the old master has to take him. It's very like old samurai influenced as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love the start of a journey, and like if it's in a trilogy, like fair enough, like it can't be in all of the parts, but I love the whole like character learning the world. Like obviously like Luke's such like a sheltered boy, like he doesn't even know what's like across like the desert. Like there's a town full of like things he's never seen before.
Yeah, he's so protected for a reason he has no idea about, and he just thinks it's like selfish reasons, when in actual fact it's for big massive reasons.
Yeah.
But I love Mark Hamill when he talks about Luke, and you say, oh well, Luke meets gosh, can't even get his name out. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh my god. And he goes off to, the light side of the Force, where he says, if Darth Vader came knocking on his door beforehand, he was that desperate to get out, he would have joined the dark side. Like that's how desperate he was. He didn't care at the time before learning anything where what his destiny was going to lead to. He just wanted to get the fuck out of there.
And I think when you're a kid, you like think like, oh yeah, Uncle Owen's like like shitbag. But it's like when you think about it, he like took him in and like raised him from a child just so he wouldn't get murdered by like the government. But like you're right though, Sam, because like I didn't really understand it as a kid, but like at the start, Luke's like the thing he wants to do is join the Imperial Flight Academy because that was the only thing at the time. And like his uncle's like, maybe you should stick by and help with the harvest for one more year. He's trying to stop him from like getting involved in like the war, basically.
Yeah. He's so protective of him, and it's like you just want to share it, because at the time when you're first watching it, you're thinking, yeah, Uncle Owen, you're a dick. But by the end of it, you're like, oh, don't you wish you just fucking listened to him? And you could have been so safe. Shot, I suppose.
Didn't end well for Uncle Owen, though, did it?
Yeah.
It did go a bit crispy.
Did anyone else like have that like Millennium the Death Star playset as a kid that like opened out?
Yes.
There was like a little panel on the floor for like the homestead that flipped over and it had the skeletons on it. That's so morbid for a kid's toy.
I can't remember that. I always just remember Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, that was another one that like opened up, wasn't it? Like slid back.
But it wasn't like mine, but it was mine.
No, yeah. These were like cousins' toys, I think.
Yes, but we had to share, especially when we were at my grandmother's house, because we had like our toys at home, figures at home, but we had our toys at my grandmother's, and I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house growing up.
It's coming into view.
It is so special.
The Millennium Falcon.
You're going to regret getting that down now.
Yeah, one of his legs just fell off. Oh, shit.
That's like that absolutely like not a lot of people sort of think about that, but like Luke wouldn't have shot down like the Death Star if Han hadn't saved him from Darth Vader in that one moment where he decides to be a hero and comes back.
Was it?
It all leads back to Harrison Ford.
I think.
Oh yeah, he's excellent. The because he's like, obviously you've got the old master, but like Han Solo is like the alternative like look at the world where he's like, kid, this like magic stuff's really not gonna help you out.
No, it's not gonna pan out for you.
He tries to like sway him a bit, like to kind of give him some
I think
some
he's
advice.
just been like brute, like it's like hard truths, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, he's just trying to dish him some hard truths to like kind of toughen him up a bit, because he has been so protected that he needs a bit of toughening up. It's all well and good that, you know, Obi-Wan's going to be teaching him all this like space magic, but he still needs to be tough at the same time. Paul, you are never getting that back up there.
It's fine. It's up now.
Not right now.
It's up now.
He's used the Force.
You really are going to regret doing
this
stuff
knocked
like
it off
this.
though, that's all.
Oh, damn it, Zool.
Hey, Terror Dog.
Yes. The only thing, because it is, I'm sure I'm gonna get called out for being like getting this wrong, because doesn't Luke completely call out one of like the pilots in New Hope, saying, like said, you've got this little space to shoot. He's good. I was shooting swamp rats on Dagobah type thing, not Dagobah, like on the home. And he's
that's
like,
where he goes with.
And he's like totally killing off this rebel fighter pilot who's probably went through years of training, and he's just like, I'm just a farm boy, I'm telling you how to do your shit. It's like,
and then Family Guy sketch. Where he kicks right off with them.
But then he's got, you know, like he's got the Force, which is just the magical power of like, you are good at anything you try, as long as it serves the plot.
Yeah.
I love the first one because it was obviously my introduction to the world. Like I didn't see them out of order, luckily, because that would have been confusing. And it set me on the path away from Star Trek, I am sad to say, where I was like,
I
was like, the action ones are much cooler, but it was just because I didn't understand Star Trek at the time.
I was rebelling against it. I was dragged up on Kirk because my mum's a Trekkie, so I was kind of like, when this whole new, it was Star Wars, not Star Trek, and I was like, yes, you give me this, and you can go and fuck off over there. But yeah, I love the fact that
how to make friends with goodwill now. So
no, and like this was me back as a kid. Honestly, she doesn't like Picard or anything like that, and she won't venture outside of anything else. It's always Kirk, and it's always the same thing. It was always the same thing. But I love the fact that you chose Star Wars. I purposely didn't, because you're right. The adventure starts right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the New Hope was never my favorite.
Oh, okay. I quite like it because it has like a finite like victory at the end, and like, you know, there's more.
True.
But I like that it's all like tied up in a package.
That it could have just ended there, and we could have been okay.
I think Lucas was half expecting it might, because it was like an unknown quantity at the time, which is,
it took a hell of a gamble though. Because well, not on the gamble on the movie, because if the movie didn't do well, it wasn't like too much. I think it was more to do with the merchandise, because this is where the game changed for a lot of things when it comes to merchandise and like toy sales and stuff like that, because he basically said he retained it all from the studio, and the studio went, no fucker's gonna buy Star Wars toys.
No one.
Yeah, get on with it.
No one. Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was the first one I could grab. I've got 3 of them. He changed the game when it came to franchise, when it came down to actually the merchandise of it, and the because that's all he asked for when it got sold, was he wanted to keep, and he was absolutely mint. But everyone who was doing that movie all thought it was a B movie.
Yeah,
it was just some sci-fi bullshitty B movie, and that's why it looks so much fun, because that's how they treat it. It wasn't blockbuster, there weren't big money, there was nothing at stake. Let's just have fun with it, and that's how it comes across, and that's why it wins for.
Yeah, because wasn't Carrie Fisher like, there hasn't she been in interviews saying like, oh, like the writing, we all thought it was terrible. Like none of the sentences made, like, you know, there wasn't how normal people spoke.
It's not the best. He's not the best when it comes to dialogue. I mean, the Clone Wars and Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Earth all go to prove that, because they read it word for word, whereas these guys kind of like they just work like improv off each other, because that's where they came up from, was kind of like just improving. Not Harrison Ford though.
what he just stuck
he was
to
a
the
carpenter.
script.
No, he was a carpenter, and then he was the casting reader. So when they did Star Wars for casting, it was Star Wars and Carrie were being cast at the same time. So Harrison Ford, if you watch the Carrie casting videos, it's Harrison Ford reading all the other lines, and then he's doing the same for Star Wars too. The fucking useless facts I know.
Yeah, it's interesting though as well, because you think about it, there is so many obvious movies that you could pick as well. Star Wars is one of the more like obvious ones, but not the one you've picked, because that is a lot of people's starting points. But everyone always either goes towards Empire or even towards Jedi. Like, say if you depends how old you are and if you like cute fuzzy teddy bears. But
Max Rebo.
But this one was quite like, say, the dark one as well, like an interesting one. This is, I think, Lucas trying to find his feet. I don't think he knew where he wanted to go with Star Wars yet.
No,
he was like, I just want to make a Star Wars fantasy, and that's why you get the Luke and Leia kiss. Because they weren't brother and sister in this film. I like to don't give a fuck what George Lucas said, and he's trying to rewrite that history.
Argument with
that.
Yeah.
And he's trying to rewrite the history of that so much, like, say, when you get the remix. But the original cut, the first one that they did without all the new things that's added, where they changed
stuff in Mos Eisley.
And when they changed it from hand shooting second, and then, like, say, adding Jabba the Hutt.
Let's add Jar Jar to New Hope.
That Jar Jar was like a selling point for like the VHSs. The Jabba scene. It's awful.
Yeah, because originally it was filmed, but they had Jabba the Hutt as a fat guy.
A man,
he was a man, yeah.
So
then when he steps over his tail, they had to CGI that.
I remember seeing that for the first time when I bought the did I get this? I've got the silver edition, and I get in the silver edition, and I watched it for the first time and went, "Fuck yes, yeah, Joe."
What?
It was cool when you were a kid, like when you were like, "There's more there's more movie I like," just like. But then when you look back, you're like, well, edits actually happen for a reason.
There's certain things they've added. There's certain things they've added throughout the years that's just horrendous, and certain things they've added that's great. Like, I think it was in the Blu-ray cut they added in Vader going no at the end of Return of the Jedi. That was good. But like the little thing on the New Hope, they added in a boinking noise when the stormtrooper hits its head.
Really?
Just hilarious. Like, it wasn't in the original. It was just because you saw him hit his head. But then
it's a goof that never got took out, did it? Like, it should never have been there. So they, instead of trying to like hide it, they're like, no, let's emphasize it. Let's put a noise on top of it.
And I know they like added more rocks to like R2 when he's like sneaking a peek at the sand people and stuff, like weird things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to be honest, I don't think I've seen like the Blu-ray or the Disney Plus versions, because it was something I watched so much on the VHS as a kid. I'm like, I'm good, like I know the story.
I have to, if something gets, so for example, Downton Abbey, I'll watch that on Amazon Prime. Now that got added to Netflix not long ago. I had to watch it on Netflix just to make sure that nothing else was added in that I didn't. So I've done the same with everything.
God.
If it's been on
Downton
one
Abbey, the extra cut. What fucking
another.
Add into Downton Abbey? more posh people saying, "Good, yes, let's have another cup of tea."
More cups of tea involved,
more pensive stairs in the pantry.
Exactly. There could be scenes.
Governor, let's go up the stairs. Oh,
your mothers, but it's fucking brilliant. But yeah, that's what I do. If it's on one platform and it moves to another, I will watch it. So the minute they went on Disney Plus, I fucking watch them just to make sure.
I think it's the Blu-ray ones, isn't it, on Disney Plus?
It's the one. It's the only thing I don't own it on. I own it on VHS. I own it on DVD. I don't own it on Blu-ray yet.
I used to have those DVDs with like the original 4:3 cut on, so I'd watch those on occasion.
I was so excited when I bought the VHS version of Star Wars. I genuinely thought it was an uncut version until somebody crushed my dreams and was like, "Sorry, dear, it's been edited." I was like, "Mother."
No, they did bring out a DVD though. They did bring out a DVD version.
It was on the second disc though. Like like if you just chucked the first disc in, it was like, I mean, they're not worth that much money because they weren't exactly hard to find. Like that, I bought them in HMV for like $5 each or whatever when they were newish. But yeah, it started off a massive thing for me where I've followed Star Wars my entire life
It
since.
started your adventure.
And now Jake is
All the
filled
ups
with
and
hate.
downs.
Now
Yeah,
Jake only loves Andor, and we can't talk about anything else than Andor.
Andor got the closest, I think, to like the
Yeah, well,
70s movies for me. But
yeah.
yeah, like it's one hell of a journey, and like it was cool to at least see it in the right order, like back at the start.
Very much so. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
So
Brilliant choice, Jake.
Number 3 there, Sammy.
Okay, number 3. Oh, this movie I've seen 100 million billion times, and that was just in 1 week at a campsite in France because it's the only VHS that they actually owned. It is from 1981. It has one of it. This is kind of like a little homage to My Best Friend as well, because the main star in it is the main person in her life. She loves this guy more than anyone in the world. It is Kevin Costner, and it is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I thought you were going to say Waterworld.
Yes, that would have been
Imagine if that was the only tip you had.
That would have been a homage to my husband because he loves Waterworld. When Blu-ray came out, it's the first one we bought. But no, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore this movie. I did watch it a fair few times in that campsite in France because we were put in like a kids' playroom and they had a video player, and they play, and the minute it finished, rewound, put back in again. Your parents weren't finished drinking yet, so you had to sit. And I sat and watched that over and over again.
It sounds like that room from Addams Family that they put Wednesday.
Pretty much. But I watched it again recently, and there's certain things I could not stop laughing at. As an adult, I should have taken my adult head off when he lands at Dover and ends up at Hadrian's Wall 2 seconds later. I'm like, hang on a minute, where's the time in between, fella? There were certain things in that I picked up that I was like, I could not stop laughing at, but it still has that level of adventure that I thoroughly love. The kind of like the battle scene at the end, like the fight scene at the end is just, for me, I thought, brilliant. It kind of gives us Braveheart vibes, but that's another thing. It's when I don't know who's coming in to fight them. That's the thing. I'm still like my age now. I still don't know who comes in to fight Robin Hood at the end. Who the sheriff gets in. I don't know.
No. I just think it's hilarious that all the people that were meant to be British just had the worst like British accents. It was like, fuck this. Well, let's just like, oh, Kevin, you don't have to do a British. Christian Slater, you don't have to do a British accent.
They really tried with them to do the British accent, and Kevin Costner sounded fucking ridiculous to the point where they were like, "You're just gonna have to film it." They had to reshoot everything because of how terrible his British accent was. And then Christian Slater caught onto that and went, "Well, technically, I'm his brother, so we would have like the same kind of accent." I do love the fact that Brian Blessed's in this movie.
Is he?
It's his dad.
I'm trying to think now.
Yeah, you don't see him very much. You don't really see him properly at all.
Oh, right. I can't remember. I know the guy who played Little John looks like Brian Blessed, and then you had Friar.
I know you're going to break Sammy's heart.
Then you had Friar Tuck, who was like out of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
But then I can't remember. I might have been, but like say, there's certain parts of the movie that just. Like the only thing I genuinely love about the movie is Alan Rickman. It was Alan Rickman, wasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
As the sheriff. I was just, I'll cut your heart out with a spoon. And the guy who plays the guy of Gisborne as well, he was amazing. But everyone, it's one of them films where you watch and think, I just want to see the bad guys. I hated Robin Hood and his merry men. And let's be honest, Maid Marian was a little bit annoying in this movie. Like, she really irritated us.
She made some really bad choices.
Yeah.
She did make some incredibly bad choices to where, like, it got, life consequences happened to her.
Yeah.
I love, I've had to bring his name up because I never remember who he is, and it's such a shame because he's such a brilliant actor. Michael Wincott.
Right.
Who plays his cousin, who's in The Crow.
Right.
And also in Nowhere, if anyone's watched that recently. He is such a phenomenal actor. I love his tone of voice. I love that croaky, gruff kind of thing. He really gave Alan Rickman a run for his money when it came down to vocals. But I love this movie so much, but it's so silly. Like, it really is. There's so many things that are like historically wrong with it, especially when you're casting Americans against English.
I feel like it was marketed as like a super serious blockbuster though, like back when it was like coming out. So like, but yeah, like you say, like Alan Rickman's performance is like cartoonish, but like in a good way, where it's like hilarious, like to watch. But it's like it's such like a ham sort of like acting type of style.
It's kind of almost camp. It was Brian Blessed who played Lord Loxley. Right. I had to check because I was proper down.
I was maybe I was probably wrong because like as you said, I'm not the hugest fan. Like probably when I watch this movie, I could probably cut out the first 45 minutes and just go to the end and say, "Hey, let's watch the Sheriff be cool."
Robin Hood's interesting because like, when was the last time they remade like Robin Hood like as a story?
They've done the BBC show that was before Merlin, and then the actor quit halfway through or something.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like prime real estate for like, you know, like Hollywood director types to be like, yeah, let's just do Robin Hood again, and he's like a super archer, like because you'd have to make it interesting. Because like
cast what's he called? Him out of the Meg.
No, it's
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham as Robin Hood.
So funny.
Do Guy Ritchie doing a lock stock version.
If they did a silly one,
possibly.
Didn't Guy Ritchie do King Arthur?
No,
didn't he do something super serious like that?
He done Aladdin. I knew that, but that's.
He did Aladdin.
Yeah, I'm sure he did Aladdin.
But yeah, like if they did a silly Robin Hood, like, you know, action movie, I could be down for it. But like when they try and tell the story like seriously, like I just fall asleep, I think.
Actually, didn't they do a Robin Hood recently? Didn't they done a recent Robin Hood one with him out of
Does it come back to you?
No, what's he called? He was basically it was a spy spoof movie with Colin Firth in. It had the Freebird scene where guy played a
Kingsman.
Taron
Egerton. It's from 2018.
He played a Robin Hood,
adventure.
Oh, there you go. So that was the last time it was remade.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a canny cast. It's got Jamie Foxx, Jamie Duran, Ben Mendelsohn, who's in Secret Invasion, and Paul Anderson, who is from Peaky Blinders.
Cast means nothing, though.
Yeah, I was going to say the fact that none of us the fact that none of us knew it would be made kind of tells a lot about it. So
until you just mentioned it,
I
think it holds a lot of childhood memories. I used to have such a thing for history back in the day, so kind of like this was, you know, helped in that kind of realm, even though it has nothing like historical accurate at all. I love the aesthetic of it. The cinematography of it was fantastic. The scenery, the costumes. We can take away the fact of the accents, and I do remember watching it and texting Carolyn and just taking the right old piss out of it, and I got wrong so many times.
How dare you be mean about our Robin?
It's him. It's Kevin Costner.
I'm surprised she hasn't tried to join in the stream now and go, why are you saying this, Sammy?
I'm surprised she hasn't texted us, and because she hears Kevin Costner's name and it's like a bell goes off in her head. She's like, who mentioned him?
It's like it's a twinge in her vagina and it starts twinging all over the place and stuff.
But yeah, so which choice is this?
That's your third.
More, so that's my third one. So yeah, my third one had to be Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves for every reason I've just said.
It ruined the charts though with that stupid song for so many
weeks. How long was it on the charts the weeks for?
It was like 8 weeks or something, wasn't it?
I don't know, but I was sick of it. Even as a child, I could understand the concept of it's been around too long.
Everything I do it for you.
The Sammy's Three Musketeer one. Oh my god! And bring her into it. Three Musketeer one that he did as well. That's a good epic. Song for an end of movie.
Yeah, that I think that almost made me list. I'm not gonna lie, Three Musketeers did contemplate, but
kind of glad I didn't shit on your list then.
It's better than Robin Hood, I put it that way, but yeah.
You want to wait until my next one?
So with my next pick, I'll go with the most obvious one in the list. Probably everyone would have guessed this movie. It is probably. When you mentioned adventure movie, it is the one, and it is the best out of the movies that we're seeing, and it is what I like to concern the final act to the movies. I know there's been more since, but Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade I've went with for my fourth pick.
Oh yeah, that's your favorite one.
Yes, because I love them all. Well, Temple of Doom's not my favorite, just because like people shit on Crystal Skull for not being realistic, but Temple of Doom, it has someone jumping out of a plane and surviving by using a raft, and then someone getting that close to lava and not being burned to death and not melting. Okay, but they're okay, but they hate on aliens. But yeah, we'll not go into that. But yeah,
oh damn! I thought we were getting into a rant there. I was ready.
no, but like say, we're Raiders of the Lost Ark. That is it probably is the better film. Let's be honest, it is the better film out of all of them. But for comedy wise and for Harrison Ford getting the feel and being Indiana Jones and just his interaction and like with Sean Connery in this movie as his dad, and you find out about Indy's name, how he's named after the dog, and like say Marcus getting more and like just like filling out the world that is Indiana Jones. And I love all the like when the Nazis are in as well, when it's like say the bad guys are the Nazis, Indiana Jones is on fire, and it works so much as a serial like type of adventure movie.
Yeah, it's so magical. Them two on screen together, you don't think it would work, but it really does. Out of all of them, this is my favorite. I shocked Carolyn today because she mentioned Indiana Jones for me. Listen, I was like, listen, I am not the biggest Indy fan to where I could put it on a list and claim that to be a favorite. But out of all of them, Last Crusade is the only one I'll sit and watch. Couldn't tell you the other. Crystal Skull I've obviously seen more recently, and of course the new one. But Last Crusade's the one that I would actually go out my way to watch.
Yeah, like it was just that thing, like you were saying, like it doesn't seem like those two would work as like the two leads. Because like at around that era, they were kind of both playing the same sort of character, I suppose, like the sort of like the cocky like action guy. Like
yeah.
So you think like, what? You're just gonna double them up, and it's like, yeah, well, it kind of works because they both think they're right. So you get that like back and forth like between them all the time.
I would have loved to see the interaction off stage. Just to see Harrison and Sean Connery's in it and see how they are, because they're both notorious for being grumpy old farts.
So who knows what they were like?
So knowing them to
just
be
a lot
like,
of mumbling.
It could have been like say the Walter Matthau and like grumpy old men type of reaction.
Oh, Jack Lemmon.
Kind of reaction, like both of them being cankerous old twats, being honestly. But they did feel very much father and son in this movie as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I quite liked about it. And as I said, this is the movie where you know Harrison Ford has got Indy down to a T. He's got all the little nuances and the little looks. And Indy's not a great adventurous. He's a very, very lucky person who gets scrapes through looks and just basically the seat of his pants. But the scene on the blimp is one of the most funniest things ever, when he dresses up as a ticket officer and he punches the Nazi general and throws him off the thing, and everyone's looking at him. He's going, no tickets, and seeing everyone freak out showing the tickets is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you not think the best part about Indy is that we're always going to hate the bad guy because the bad guy's always a Nazi, and you can't ever turn around and say, "Oh, I was rooting for the bad guy in this one," because you're not going to admit that.
Yep, if you're a good person on the right side of history, you hate the Nazis.
If you don't, you shouldn't be watching our podcast. Graham will get you. we'll set Graham on you. You're like, yeah.
You're off. I love the fact that Pat Roach is in all of them as well. I grew up on Alvida Same Pet, and my dad used to always love pointing out that Pat Roach was in every single one as a stuntman, and you get to see him properly in this one. I love it's Bomber. Love a bit of Bomber.
The only thing I'm like say a little bit gutted about, because I as I said, I can slate Temple of Doom till I go home. It's not a good movie from start to finish, but it does have two of the best characters. Like Short Round is absolutely amazing. I wish we got more of him in the Indiana Jones universe.
Yeah,
and I
feel like lovely.
I feel like we missed out on that. And the lead actress in Temple of Doom, I can't remember her name now because, like I say, the movie's unforgettable. but she's a more believable heroine for the time in that than like the ones that we got. Like, see, I love Karen Allen in the Indiana Jones movies, but I would have liked to see her like more of like her as well. That was the only thing I was a bit disappointed about.
Like like in Temple of Doom, they had like a good group dynamic going where it was like, they had different types of people reacting differently to like the crazy situations. Whereas sometimes you can get like all the characters are kind of like on the task at hand and they'll just get through it. Yeah, you're right. Like Indy's a weird character because when you think about him, if you haven't seen the movies to you're like, oh yeah, Indy, the action hero, like he jumps to save people and that, but he kind of doesn't want to be there for a lot of it, and like everything, like there's a lot of like pained expressions on his face when he's just like you can tell he wants to say like, oh fuck it, I'm going home, but he can't.
I'm not doing this fucking snakes again. I would have loved to have seen Key in the new one. I think that would have been such a lovely way, especially if we're ending Indy's time on screen. That would have been such a lovely way to end it with Key. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'll just call him Key so I don't disrespect him, because he deserves the world. He really does. And the year he's just had, it just would have been so monumental that was what ended the year, the biggest year of his career, and the comeback that he's had. It just would have been so heartwarming. But just to see them interact with each other on red carpets and at award ceremonies is being, it touched my heart very much. I just would have liked to have seen that, like, that ending of it with him involved.
Yes. So yes, I had to pick Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade just because I as Sammy said, this is the one that you look forward to. Like, so you like you're always going to watch them as the trilogy, or like in the quad and the. What's a 5 set now?
Quintilogy?
Quintilogy. So it's one of them films. Even if there's a bad one, because there is always a bad one, you've got to watch them. But I never understand why Temple of Doom is a prequel. But again, not going to start.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's actually a prequel. It's set before Raiders.
No, that's they were going too high concept with that one.
My mind's just kind of like going back and trying to like go over the two movies and see how that works.
But no, like to be honest, Paul, like when everyone was obviously talking about Indiana Jones because of the movie coming out, like it seemed like overwhelmingly that this was everyone's favorite. Like Last Crusade was like the one that like stuck out for people.
Definitely. But yes, I think it's the one with the most humor in as well. I think that's also.
And it's got Joaquin no, it's got River Phoenix in it.
Yes.
And he looks beautiful in it.
As Sam is licking the screen there. But yes. So on to Jake's second from last pick.
Ooh.
Yeah. So mine's like, it might not be something you totally expect from like this category, but when you think about it, absolutely like a massive adventure. And it also is one of the small characters in a big world type of adventures, but it's just got to be Toy Story.
Oh my god, Jake!
Because I feel like it's got everything, because it's got like, it's got the concept of the toys in a strange like world of the humans where they don't really understand everything and like they're like trapped in a room, like literally. But then you also get Buzz, who gets like sent into this world he completely doesn't understand.
Like
and has to have a horrible
stuff like that,
Well, he has to have a horrible realization as well. He's just like, my life was a lie.
There's adventures upon adventures upon adventures in this part. Like like Woody's side thing where he's stuck in Sid's room, the adventure to get out of there. Like there's so much.
because of Buzz being like a jerk, they get left at the truck stop.
But is Buzz being a jerk? Like, is it just he just doesn't know any better?
You should listen to Woody though. Woody knew best. But as a voiced cast as well, I don't think Toy Story has ever been beaten for the people who were involved.
Oh no.
They put so much effort into the performances as well. Like you can really tell, like when he's shouting at Buzz, like you are a toy.
Even down to the little green soldiers. It's the guy from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. He might have been in Bill and Ted's as well, The Bogus Journey, or there might have just been a parody of him.
I think that was just a parody of him, but he's in Frighteners, he's in obviously Full Metal Jacket, but that's him as well. That's the last bit of work he ever did was Toy Story. So I love the fact that even the little green soldiers have like such a distinct character towards their voice.
Yeah, and I love those scenes where like they're trying to tell them what the birthday presents are because they're all like terrified that there's going to be like some weirdo moving in with them.
Or someone to replace them.
It's bed sheets. It's like, what kind of kid brings bed sheets?
Yeah. And like the whole journey they go on in this movie as well, like because you think it's going to be Buzz learning, but it's not just Buzz. Like Woody goes through a whole journey in this, and the exceptions, and this genuinely scary type of aspects in, especially when he goes like next door to Sid's house, and you see.
You mean
like,
that happy child?
Happy child.
It's not even. Do you know what? That's not even me as a child. I know I once destroyed my sister's Barbies by cutting all their hair off and using gel pens, but not even I would go so far as to do it to multiple toys and mix the fuckers together.
Then Frankenstein them together.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I did do with Disney a Sid. It was the smallest. They only ever had a small portion for Toy Story when I was going to Florida, and I did make my own Sid toy. So I like put like loads of shit together and made my own Sid toy.
You can get them now, I think. I think you can actually get a Sid figure.
Yeah, I made my own.
It's like it's
creepy fucking spider.
It's like his nightmares come to real. You can actually play.
Yeah,
Sid.
It's cruel fate.
He's actually part of I don't want to say Halloween Horror Night because it's a completely different production company, but I'm sure he's part of like Mickey's Most Scary now. Like Sid is a character that is out there on Halloween to get kids.
Like if there was like a part of the Haunted Mansion where you went into like Sid's room and you were like small.
Well, I love I love the adult jokes in this as well because one of the toys was basically a pair of legs with a fishing rod and it was like, this is a hooker.
Yeah.
I never even got that until now.
Yeah.
And like when all he wants is like Mrs. Potato Head from like the birthday party, he's like, "Hey, a man can dream, can he?"
Isn't that Don Rickles?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the only the reason Mr. Potato Head doesn't talk in the other movies is because he died.
Yeah, they had to do that a little bit with a few people where they had to just reuse like famous voice lines for like Slinky Dog and stuff.
But they never replaced the voice actor.
No, because it was
they saw that disrespectful to the character.
Yeah.
So they kept, and there's times where Mr. Potato Head just doesn't talk at all.
And to be fair, like Disney, they would have to pay more people money, and they don't like doing that. So
yeah, Slinky's like Jim Varney, like Ernest as well. They never replaced him really. They just like reused stuff because like those side characters, I guess you could. But like Paul, like you hit on a massive thing for like adventures as well. They're like the enemies to friends kind of trope, like is like massive in Toy Story. And it takes them almost all the way to the very end to like finally see eye to eye. Because there's the whole thing where like they all think Woody's like killed Buzz because he accidentally shows his arm, and they're just like murderer.
But how much of a twats is the toys though? It's like
they're awful.
They've lived with Woody for so long, and now they've got this new toy. It's like new and shiny, and Woody's like, "Oh, help me, guys!" And it's like, "No, you've killed him. No."
They're very sheltered.
Let's talk to Woody first, see what's happened, and see like thing. At least give him a chance. No, it's just like fling him outside. You know, if I was Woody, I would set fire to the bastards. That would teach them.
The only two characters out of that whole thing that grow is Woody and Buzz, because the rest of them are all little fucking sheep.
Yeah,
they are the worst toys. To be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, Woody does try and kill Buzz or knock him out the window at least.
I've got a Slinky down there. I was going to bring them up, but I'll knock everything
What
out.
his intention was, I suppose.
Your whole shelf will just fall down.
Being attacked by the toys. Just like Sid.
I've got a Woody riding Thor's hammer. I've got Buzz standing next to Gizmo and Roger Rabbit, and I've got RC and Slinky down there as well. So, but yeah, I'm not going to get them.
Oh, RC, he's an unsung hero of the story. They wouldn't have got back in the van without RC.
No, they wouldn't.
I did love the fourth one. It is probably my
No, it's
favorite.
not.
I'm
but
just.
it is.
I quite
it.
like
it's
2.
So funny.
Yeah, I could hear an argument that 2 is slightly better than 1, just because, but it also builds on jokes from the first one, so it can't exist without it. But
I love Duke Kaboom. I love the stuff play guys, because obviously he's Keen and Peele. Look at him, man.
He's judging you, Sammy.
He's a naughty bear.
It's a bad bear.
Yeah,
he's a bad bear. And I love Spoonie.
Yeah, like that stuff's fine. It was just a bit of a weird.
Wasn't
it
Forky? It was Forky, wasn't it?
Forky, that's it. Forky.
So
oh my
you played
god, though.
Forky Spoonie before.
Hey, damn it!
That's not a knife.
This is a knife. I've never laughed so much at that movie. I watched it once with Anth, and I was like, Dad, you've got to watch this, because my dad loves the Toy Story movies, and I just sat and pissed my pants laughing throughout the whole thing. It's daft comedy, and I love silly comedy that, like, it doesn't need to make sense. It just has to be funny.
They are saying that they're planning on doing a 5th one now, which just totally blows my mind if they actually do it. Because after the 3rd one, I didn't think it could be made, because the 3rd one has the best ending to any film ever.
I cried so badly at that ending, like both parts, where it's like they're gonna die, and then when he gives his toys away to the next generation, I was like, that's a perfect ending.
Let's bring it back for another one.
Yeah.
I didn't cry at the 3rd one, and I got wrong off Michaela. It was the whole Frozen thing all over again. I got called awful names for it, because I just didn't see the sadness.
Yeah, like, I mean, when I was a kid watching the first Toy Story, I didn't think it was going to end up being this like grand world thing.
No.
I think you just think it's going to be a one and done when you're a kid.
I do remember getting our first ever DVD player, and it being the DVD that came with it. That was Toy Story. Oh, back in those days.
When Sam used to steal DVDs, but yes.
Never. I'm not.
I can remember, like, I think I was like half like that.
I remember watching, like, say, I think it was, I know it sounds bad saying this, but if you watch Toy Story 3, but if you go back and watch Toy Story 1, it's very dated in the effects, because Toy Story 3 is absolutely... Like, I know Toy Story 4 has come out after, but Toy Story 3 was the pinnacle of when Pixar was running its shit to the best. And Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, story-wise, is amazing, but the look of it, like, you think of it now, you wouldn't mind if they go back and clean it up.
Yeah, true. As long as they just keep the voice lines the same.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, do you think that's why in number 2 they did that thing where there was loads of, like, where the guy's restoring Woody and there's loads of like super close-up shots of him? Do you think they were trying to like flex, being like, oh, look how good we are now when you get up close on these models and stuff?
Pixar's notorious for that type of shit though, because like because I think that they had the Collector come out for as a short, and they brought him in to do the close-up of Woody getting
like a
fixed.
recurring guy.
They did the same with Monsters Inc. The only reason they made Sully as hairy as is because they created the technology to do real life fur. So they thought, we can do fur now. We'll do a Monsters movie. That's the only reason why they made Monsters Inc. Because they've got that technology.
Amazing, though.
The tech demo.
Yeah,
and look what we got.
Definitely. But yes, Toy Story is a top level pick there.
Jake, you are surprising me.
How dare you?
Not like in such a good way.
Don't you dare diss the nerdy Jesus.
I'm not just the guy who talks about weird things nobody's seen.
I would never diss Jake. I'm just generally like in awe of his list.
Cool.
Now I'm going to bring the tone down with my next one.
Oh god, it's going to get sad for them.
It's not. It's just the worst. It is one of the worst. Anth will never understand why I love this movie so much. And it was the first time I was introduced to Mads Mikkelsen. It's from 2014. Clive Owen is the fucking worst in this, but I still love it for Mads Mikkelsen and the guys around him who create Arthur's, I don't know what they're called, the guys of the round table, but it's the 2004 King Arthur with Clive Owen playing King Arthur, and Keira Knightley, Mads Mikkelsen, Huge Dancy. I can't pronounce the guy from Fantastic Four. Ray Winston and the late great Ray Stevenson as one of my favorite characters in this movie. He played Dagonet, and I love it so much. There's no explanation for it. It's shit. I'll give you that.
I was going to say, I'm going to go very quick
terrible.
because I've got nothing nice to say about this, so I don't want to
Nobody
I don't want to be that
Paul,
dick.
Nobody has nothing nice to say about it, but I absolutely adore it. And it's probably more to do with the brothers in the group, like the brotherhood that they've created, than anything else. Because I watched it recently. I used to watch this all the time. Ridiculous. Anthony will never understand it. And it was I saw it was on Disney Plus, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a watch. And I just thought, yeah, this isn't the best. Clive Owen's terrible, like really fucking bad.
What do you like about it?
it's them lot. It's
the friendship. Okay.
I could literally watch a whole movie with what's his name? Ray Winston. Playing the character that he's playing as Boaz, along with his group of friends, and just listen to them interact with each other all day. They are hilarious with each other. The guy who plays Uncle Owen in the prequels in Star Wars, he's in it. He's part of that group. But yes, the first time I was ever introduced to Mads Mikkelsen, he was so fucking weird in this film. Like, he didn't barely speak. He had a bird that used to like just go to him and then come back, and they didn't really do anything. Just went off and came back. But again, it's an adventure movie for them. Like, I want to see their adventures, and I do get to see a glimpse of it in it, but not a great deal because,
it's one of them things where I remember the controversy behind the advertising campaign more than the movie, because this was the first time that they got, like, I think a movie did get called out for changing or enhancing the appearance of the actress involved.
I can't remember which way they did it, but because Keira Knightley
is very flat chested, and in the posters they give her boobs.
And it was I remember that.
Yeah, and it was the first time that it publicly came out, where I think it was going on big, where like body image was a big thing. They were talking about teenage magazines, and they were like, how can they justify doing a movie like poster where even Keira Knightley came out and said it was wrong what they did.
She dragged them. Yeah, I think she dragged them as well. I think she was one of the ones who recognised it.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But again, I love there's the side characters that I like Dagonet, played by Ray Stevenson, who we are going to get to see in the new Ahsoka series, but sadly he did pass away earlier this year.
He's always excellent in pretty much anything I've seen him in. Like, he's great in Dexter, he's great in Punisher, Warzone.
He has such a presence about him.
Yeah.
And especially like as Dagonet, he barely speaks, but when he does, it fucking matters. And like Ray Winston, like they're best friends. And when Dagonet dies, it's like it just wrecks his world completely, and the anger that comes from that death is just immense. But again, I'm not watching it for Clive Owen. I'm really not. I'm not, honestly, I cannot stand the man. His acting is so fucking wet. That's the only way to describe it, is wet. There's nothing dry. You can get a dry performance and get a really decent performance out of it. He's just a wet blanket. He's terrible.
It's one of them films where it says how bad it is when you prefer a Richard Gere, Sean Connery version of King Arthur and the Knight's Table to what we got.
That's it.
There.
The Knights of the Round Table. That's it. That's what I was thinking of. Sorry.
Yeah, but wow, yeah, it's a pick. It's a choice.
It's a pick. It's a choice. It's my choice. I have to stick with it.
And I would never slag you off for your choice, but I would love to say I finished the movie. I can't. I've never got through it.
It's the only choice that I could sit here and I'm like, kind of, I can understand why people don't like it, but for some reason, something deep inside of us, it's like, I fucking love this movie, and I don't know why.
I feel like I'm gonna watch it now.
I think
it's on Disney Plus.
I just remember the shit it got, because when it first got like advertised, it was advertised as historically accurate about how King Arthur was.
Oh, it's absolutely not.
Because it was supposed to be about King Arthur being a Roman and stuff like that. So they tried to go down that angle. And then you were like, okay. And then how Guinevere was a savage that was rescued or kidnapped, depending on how you look at it. And it just was. Again, I don't like slagging off movies, but I preferred Orgasmo.
No way.
Wow.
We've hit the bottom of the barrel.
That's a statement. I had to have this in because it is an adventure movie and it is one of my favourites. Not that I should never admit to it.
No, never be ashamed. Never be ashamed of what you like. It brings discussion and interest. And like, say, if you like it for your reasons, no one should ever put it down. But yeah,
I just wish I'd seen it because it sounds fun in a train wreck kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it called King Arthur?
It's called King Arthur. It's on Disney Plus. The front cover is the front picture is Keira Knightley with the bow in the. It's not the controversial picture because her arm is across her chest. You can't see it. It's where she's standing up straight. That's the controversial picture. I remember that so well.
Do the research.
I'm going to keep that short and sweet because there's not a great deal to say apart from Mads Mikkelsen is fucking great in it.
that is a good pull. Like, that would be like good movie trivia about like the 2014 Mads Mikkelsen movie. Like, you would be the only one who could pick it up.
2004, yeah.
Oh, 4 was it?
2004. It wasn't even 14. It was 4. I don't even think he'd done Casino Royale at this point, and that's the only Bond movie I've ever watched is because my love for Mads Mikkelsen starts at that film.
Yeah.
And
you picked a good one there, though.
It's the only reason I watched Casino Royale was because Mads Mikkelsen was going to be in it, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's a weird guy from Arthur."
Cool, very good. No, glad you liked it though. So at least
I'm ending on a high, so it's all right. Me last pick's a good one.
Right, so it's my pick then. So I've had so many picks in my list. Like again, I'll not try and name too many because I don't want to name anyone that's on any list. But like those movies like Up nearly made the top 5 just because of how emotional and amazing it is. Never Ending Story almost made me list because it is an epic but very scary and depressing movie. I even thought about could Back to the Future be classed as an adventure movie because he's going through all the things
through time.
Yeah,
Carolyn said it today. She picked that was one of hers.
Yeah, so it was very close to being on it. But could I really be honest with myself if this one wasn't on the pick? Would I really be telling?
Are you going to throw a curveball here, and it's not going to be what we think it is?
Let the man finish.
No, so it was always going to be in the pick.
Oh my god!
It had to be there. Like I say, we've shared so much because of this movie as well. I feel like this movie has brought us all so closer with different elements.
I'm so cute and
and it is.
Here comes the main event.
Hey, look at you. Why has he got earrings in? Oh, it's Steph.
It is and has to be the greatest adventure movie that has ever been.
You looked there.
The tuft of hair.
Yes.
I'm glad you left that in.
So yes, it had to be in this thing, in adventure movies. When you think about like a movie that has literally everything and it's just beautiful, like from story wise, and a lot of people can try and pick it apart. It is the perfect movie. It has nothing bad in it. It's pure. It has good bad guys. It has good heroes. It has a pirate ship. It's got a very weirdly named pirate called One Eye Willie, which asks a lot of questions to Spielberg, but he might have had choices. Chester Copperpot showed us the way. It's got the best group of kids where not a single one of them was annoying. And it's got some future Oscar winners in the cast as well. And it has the greatest hero in Sean Astin, who has not made a bad movie.
Many adventures that man's been on.
He is the ultra adventurist. Even like say, was it with Adam Sandler in 50 First Dates, which he was absolutely hilarious in. Like say Josh Brolin as like say as
we got fucking Thanos
Bran.
in there, man.
Got fucking Thanos. He tried to take down the world, of course, and Cable. And fucking Corey Feldman, who was the 80s superstar. But yes, The Goonies is and will always be, and I don't care what anyone else picks after this, the greatest adventure movie.
Just go home, Jake.
Just go home. I'll just finish off this. The Goonies never say die.
Oh, don't you wish you went last now so you could end the podcast on that?
No, because I didn't want to give anyone a chance to pick it, even though I know you wouldn't dare.
We wouldn't dare. We really wouldn't dare.
Should have been our number 5.
I just had like a feeling like you were gonna like throw a curveball and like just like pick something completely different, because we would obviously know that the Goonies would be in your top 5.
But how much would you have called us bullshit, though? That's the thing.
Yeah, I know,
but
that's true.
At least you did masterfully tease it out through every entry, because I genuinely believed you were going to say it for every single one.
Paul, I need to know where that picture comes from of you.
I think it was just one of like say me in Florida.
You were so angry.
But yes, but yeah, I could not pick it, and it, like as you said, it has been the thing that brought us all together in a way.
Oh yeah, well,
because if it wasn't for the Goonies, we wouldn't have what we're doing now.
Yeah, and you've kind of assembled your own Goonies crew of miscreants as well, whether you wanted to or not.
Yes, and they've had no choice in the matter. Like as you said, none of you have. Well, a few of you went up to, on Brad's bucket and left us in certain ways, but most people stayed with us. Like say, one for fortune and fame.
I am definitely mouth in the whole Goonie situation. Like I really, really fucking am.
So that's a good one. Let's like say the miscreants that is our podcast team. Let's give them a role then. So,
okay, I'm claiming mouth straight away.
Right. So Jake is clearly Data.
Okay,
he's always coming up with different adventures, inventions, and trying new things.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I would have said. Oh no! Wait a minute.
Goodwill is clearly Chunk, because we're getting to do the truffle shuffle and each strips on stream.
And that so he would talk that much if he was kidnapped as well.
Yes.
So who's Brad?
Brad.
Lee? Just if we could mix the Discord in there.
No, Lee's probably Steph. But yeah.
Oh, we're running out of people.
I'm trying to think of who could be. The
Toonies.
I mean,
Chris is clearly Sloth.
Paul's clearly the Corey of the podcast.
That's Mouth. That's Sam. So I'll be Mikey. I can be the leader. I can take us on this trip.
Yeah, true.
Yes, but
love it. Oh, yeah, that's so funny.
But Beth can be Mama Fratelli.
And the Hawaiian shirts, Chunk like falls like right with Goodwill. It's not just the talking part.
It's the booby trap. But yeah,
I love the fact that you said Goodwill would talk that much if he was in Jericho.
He would be telling the story about how he barfed.
It's like Michael Jackson came to my house.
Chain reaction puke-a-thon.
Christ. How the fuck are you going to follow this, Jay?
Oh, it's not about following. That's what the Goonies are all about. Like they all uplift each other, don't they? They work together to get
video.
Are we not the Always Sunny version of
the Goonies?
The Goonies. The gang does a Goonies.
We like take everything good about the Goonies and turn it the other way around.
Oh, well.
That's us.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like you gave me a good character with Data, because I could definitely see myself being like a chunk and getting kidnapped immediately, having all the bad luck.
Yeah, me too. But I'm definitely Mouth. I definitely talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So.
Just laughing away at myself now.
It's interesting though, Paul, because like you're the second. Like I've had like 2 friends in my life who've like talked up the Goonies massively and like made me watch it again.
Make you live through the trauma.
So it lives up to the hype though, because like I mean, what else can you say about it? Like it's it is a massive adventure. And like you were saying earlier, Paul, it's got that perfect thing where like it's like away from the parents, like nobody like ruins it, like there's no like it's all like
no one's coming to look for them.
No,
nobody
not
like
really.
gives a shit.
Not until way later.
Not until right
it's
at
like
the end.
Chunk makes a decision to take in this human being like that is Sloth. So you live with us now,
yet.
and like say when the rescue it's like not life jackets. Oh, say no, to bring them fucking pizza.
Yeah.
That's what you want in the 80s, though. Like,
Absolutely.
Ninja Turtles pizza to make yourself
Didn't it
feel
set such
better.
a high expectation of your parents, and then when you did pull shit like that yourself and were out all day, and you didn't get that reception when you came home.
No. To be fair,
though, how many crimes would Sloth have committed as part of the gang, and they just let him off?
It's already just Sloth, but Donna
needs examining.
Donna can be Andy because, like say, she's a bit of the slutty character of the Goonies, so Donna can be that. That's fine.
Oh no, that's our old Paul back to his old tricks.
But yes. So the Goonies is my final pick there. So yes, Jake, take us away.
Okay, well, I'm going to stick on the pirate theme. Does anyone recognize the ship behind me? Probably not. But my number one favorite adventure movie as a child, and I still will enjoy it to this day and say it is the best movie that these particular characters have been involved in. It is Muppet Treasure Island.
Yes, Jake.
I thought you were going to go with the Burt Lancaster one, like the original, but yeah.
No.
When you're a professional pirate.
You don't have to wear a suit.
When Tim Curry had his second best performance, shall we say.
Oh,
yeah. Hey. I think he really does steal the show. Because, I mean, the little boy isn't exactly setting the world on fire, which I think he became an impressionist comedian.
Kevin, he did this whole sketch show thing on the BBC. Yeah. If you've ever watched Benidorm, he plays a Peter Andre tribute act. Yeah, that's him.
that's perfect. But yeah, this movie to me would have 100% been my first exposure to the Treasure Island story, because there was no way I was reading that book as a child. No. But and I also loved the Muppet Show when I was a kid, even though that was reruns from the 70s or whatever. I think maybe Muppets Tonight might have been on as well. That was the 90s one.
Were you not a Muppets baby either?
Muppets Baby.
I think wasn't Muppet Babies on the Disney Channel or something?
It can't have been, because I watched it and we didn't have Sky, and I went to see them at the Sunderland Empire. When I was a kid.
Real life Muppet Babies.
Real life Muppet Babies. I did it, Jake. I did it. Sunderland Empire.
I think it was BBC One. That Muppet Babies on Saturday mornings.
I saw it a bunch, but this one was one of those random trips, where it was my auntie was like, okay, we're taking you all to the cinema because it's the summer holidays, and I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. What are we seeing Muppet Treasure Island? Okay, fine, whatever, never heard of it. And it was just one of those things where I had a blast every second of it. I love pirates. I mean, I was talking about One Piece earlier. I just love pirate stories. I love pirates so much because of this movie that I don't like Pirates of the Caribbean, because it's not as fun.
It's not, is it? I know. I love Muppets in Manhattan, the Manhattan one. I absolutely adore that movie. But when it comes to more modern, saying that, I love the new one as well. I can't stop laughing at that film. But when it comes to the 90s era of Muppets, this and Christmas Carol, oh God, I just love them all. I really do. I love this film. I love
It's got that classic Muppets charm as well, where half the characters are aware of the cameras, but the other half aren't, and you get all those silly jokes, Tim Curry when he's singing his song being upstage lads, this is my only number, because it's his only solo song that he gets.
The very much to the camera in this one, but they do it quite a bit in Christmas Carol as well.
Yeah, they've got that luxury, don't they, the Muppets, that they could just be okay, we're in the story, then we're jumping out of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And Gonzo and Rizzo don't talk. They're not the narrators, but they're very much of weird characters that don't really belong in the story.
No,
Like
not at
Rizzo's
all.
like selling like tour passes to other rat characters. They're all having a cruise while the pirate stuff's going on.
I do think this film didn't get as much credit just because it followed Christmas Carol.
Yeah, which
So-
I hadn't
Yeah.
seen. And when everyone's like, "Oh, I'm up at Christmas Carol," I'm like, "What do you mean Christmas Carol? Like Treasure Island?
Do you mean Treasure Island?
To be fair though, I'm old enough to say where the Muppets Take Manhattan, so that's how old I am.
That's your.
Same
But
here.
yeah, like I just like this. I don't know. It's just this is good. Like this is good comedy to me. This is a good adventure. Like Jim goes from like being a silly like pot washing boy to going on a pirate adventure.
Be a professional pirate.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to be once he sees what like Long John Silver's got going. Like, I mean, I think as a kid I would have joined Long John Silver because like
Definitely.
Tim Curry, I would have trusted him 100%.
100%. I would have been on that. You see, I'm a kind of person who'll jump to power. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good to
Have
know,
you-
Sammy.
So basically, if anyone wants to overflow me, just get Sammy on board, and she'll go, "Yes, I want
and
the
I'll
power."
be I'll be there. Absolutely. I love the fact that now TikTok is showing videos of behind the scenes to do with it was Treasure Island, and there is
wow.
an interview with Tim Curry dressed in his pirate outfit with the Muppet version of Tim Curry in the pirate outfit, and it is a fucking amazing interview.
So they
where
built
the
a
two-
puppet just for an interview.
Just for him. They
Because
built
that's
a
not in the
puppet just-
movie.
No, they built it just for him.
Mhm.
So he had
Yeah.
his own puppet when he left set, and they're doing this whole sit down conversation with each other, and it is just mind blowing. If I sent it to Michaela not long ago, I'll see if I can find it and I'll put it in one of our chats. But it's just it's heartwarming to look
Yeah.
at the two, like to look. He has his own puppet.
But like there was a lot of things like back that I feel like where I got the wrong version of the story, so to speak, where I'd like see the parody in The Simpsons before I saw like the real thing.
Yeah.
This was 100% another one, but not many people have touched like Treasure Island from what I can remember, like after this. But it is a cool story. Like, like I've went back like since and like watched like an old version of the movie. And it kind of does follow the main story beats, as silly as it is, but it's got like all the parts in it, like the betrayals and the sort of like the intrigue about like Flint's treasure and stuff like that.
I actually have the VHS in my back room. I have
Amazing.
In your bathroom, did you
Yeah.
say?
back room.
Oh, I was why, that's a funny place to keep the
Bathroom
VHS in the
reading, you
bathroom.
I mean, to be
you just
honest,
read the blurb.
I am literally running out of space to keep things. But when Michaela moved out of my mum's house and into her own, she has like boxes upon boxes of VHSs, and she had no room to keep them. And I was like, bring them to my house. I was like, I'm not getting rid of them. I have a VHS player, so I can like.
Right,
so...
I always feel like I should be doing this with Michaela, like see, like with her being like the ultimate geek.
she's more of a nerd than I am. She just doesn't like to admit it.
But yeah, I suppose this is our first musical musical movie.
It's got some great songs in it.
Yeah, like and just like having Tim Curry there. This was my first exposure to Tim Curry, I think, as a kid. Because I didn't see Home Alone 2 a lot because I just had the first one, I think. So I just fell in love with him from this, and how he's like how he totally does trick like if you don't know the story, he tricks the audience as well as the main character, because you don't know he's evil until like about halfway through.
Even though unless you've read Treasure Island, but that's
unless you listen to Billy Connolly when he's like, "Beware the one-legged man."
I forget Billy Connolly's in this. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
He's one of the only human characters to die in front of the Muppets. Just like he'll tell it on his stand-up where he's like, "Oh man, like trust me to be like the only person who like dies in a Muppet movie," but all for the joke of where they can go like, "We're standing in a room with a dead guy," and then run off.
If anyone wants to go back and watch an old Tim Curry movie as well, though, go and watch Clue. It is absolutely fantastic.
Clue is phenomenal.
And it is perfect for Tim Curry. It's got about 17 endings, but it is.
But that's the
so
point.
Who knows which one you're gonna get?
Yes, exactly. But yeah, sorry, that's a different podcast for a different day. So yes.
I'll just go and watch Rocky Horror because that's my introduction into Tim Curry was Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
at a young age, at an age I should never have ever. This should have been what I was introduced to him as, was Muppets Treasure Island.
Well, yeah, but he's another, like you touched on it before, he's another one of those actors where he can disappear into a role, even though he's like so like iconic, like looking. Like you guys were talking about it not too long ago, and like you can hear him in it, but it doesn't look like him. Yet he acts the perfect part of like a horrible clown,
horrified maniac clown.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I think it's.
Lee just pointed out as well. He's amazing in the Legend as well as the Devil.
Legend.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know, Muppets Adventure. That's me happy. I would gladly get on that ship, even if Fozzie Bear was financing the thing.
Oh, I love Fozzie Bear. He's my. I know, but
he's an irresponsible financier of the voyage. But
that's
I suppose
why
Kermit was there.
That's why I get it. That's why.
Yeah, and it even had the stupid jokes of like when the Swedish chef shows up and they're like, how else were we going to get him in this movie? He starts attacking the tomatoes.
Very good pick, though. Never thought we'd get the Muppets Treasure Island in a pick in the top 5, so that's always a cool one.
I love it. Jake, I've absolutely loved your list. I've loved yours, Paul. Jake's, I just wasn't sure. Like Paul, I've done this so long with him now. I'm kind of like getting, I know where it's going. Yours. I was a bit thrown. Lovely, loved it.
What are you gonna round us off with then?
Okay, you're probably gonna hate it, but I love it, and you're not. It's from 2011. Oh. It's technically classed as a sci-fi comedy, but I see such a huge adventure in it that I couldn't not pick it. It actually crosses in the realms of nerdism. It crosses in the realms of sci-fi massively. It actually covers a lot of ground when it comes to genres put into one movie. It stars the two greatest, most modern day duos in cinema and television history, in my opinion. It is the 2011 Paul.
Oh wow! Yeah. You're just trying to butter Paul up now, aren't you?
And how perfect that it was my last pick. It was always going to be my last pick, and I'm the last one to go as well. I do see this as an adventure. I know it's very sci-fi because it's alien. There's obviously an alien in it, but it's getting that alien home.
Yeah,
and there's very different bits of like compartments that fit into getting that alien back home again, and it's a big, for me, I think it's a great adventure.
Yeah, and like we've just had aliens revealed to like the real world with
nobody gives a shit
with a massive mess.
I know. I was expecting more news and like more stuff to come out about that, but people just like, all right then.
So much conspiracy and nothing.
But it's more believable now that you might accidentally come across an alien and be like, right, okay, I'm gonna help you. You seem like you've run on hard times here. Landed on Earth.
Do you sound like Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
Which he isn't exactly who I would cast for a tiny green man.
A grey man. He's grey.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I love.
I'm colorblind, remember?
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry.
Hey, Martian's always green in a.
It starts off at San Diego Comic-Con. So it kind of has the nerd feel. It ends at San Diego Comic-Con. So it has the nerd aspect to it. It has one of the famous routes of from San Diego to Vegas, and you can cut through it and you can do the whole alien route.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, and me and Anthony always get that's a bucket list thing. That is what we will do. Like
from San Diego. Get abducted, Sammy. Don't do it.
The likelihood is I would end up joining a cult more than I'd be abducted.
You already have. It's already happened.
But yeah, I love this movie, and I love Kristen Wiig in it. Her whole Darwinism t-shirt that she has on is hilarious. I love our dad. I love the two policemen, who's obviously Boyle. From Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you've got the brilliant Bill Hader. You've got the brilliant Bill Hader in there as well, and then to top it all off, you got fucking Sigourney Weaver at the end.
Yep. the classic Alien.
You might not see it as you probably will see it more as a sci-fi, but as I said to you earlier, when I'm looking at like from getting to point A to point B and whatever goes on in between,
100% it is an adventure movie. It's just it should have like as you mentioned, what a brilliant cast.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the cast and like everything that went on to what we got, it should have been better. That's my take on it. To me, it's always been like a little bit of a disappointment because the caliber of actors and stuff, it just felt like a longer version of a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah,
and that's
which already run a bit long.
Yeah, but
see, I don't know. Maybe I'm watching it through rose-tinted glasses, and because it's Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and they can do absolutely no wrong in my eyes. Maybe that's what it is.
I think when I watched it, I was definitely in the mind frame of like, oh, this is going to be like a bit of fun, you know, like I'm not expecting like a massive thing, but it also like goes back to like the roots of like Alien Autopsy, like. That weird thing that happened in the UK. I
absolutely love that movie. It's
and like,
so good.
And the Ant and Dec thing, it's kind of like them like redoing a kind of like a weird famous double act talking about aliens.
Did nobody really like that movie? Because I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was great.
You were just supporting the local lads, weren't you?
Bless you. But yeah, with Paul, like it's always one of the things that I was expecting like to have almost like the Shaun of the Dead type of humor. I know it didn't have Edgar Wright doing the writing behind it and stuff, but it just felt a bit lost. And having Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in it, again, they could have got more with the cast. I thought Nick Frost, to me, was the biggest disappointment in the movie. I didn't find him funny.
Really?
I thought I didn't like his performance. And again, this is me sound like a complete arsehole now, so I feel bad.
No, not at all. If that's how you feel about it, you're not like shit. You're not like totally shit on it. You're giving something behind it.
I do think Nick Frost is hit and miss. Like I think but do you think it's maybe a kind of thing where
it's whoever's writing for him?
Yeah, and if he doesn't like it, he's not gonna like put a massive.
But he's always gonna do it for Simon's sake.
Yeah,
Simon's sake.
But I do feel like this was a movie wrote for Seth Rogen rather than a movie wrote for Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yeah. No, you're right in that respect because I don't know though, but I still love the relationship, and obviously the chemistry is always there between them two. But I love the fact that they introduce themselves as the writer and the artist.
Yeah,
like they'll go, like one of them will go, "Oh, he's the writer and I'm the artist." Like I love that little bits that they have together.
I think the best way I can put it, imagine that movie now. If they had the people behind Spaced doing it and the cast behind Spaced doing it, imagine what you would have got.
You would have had Jessica Haynes as I've just said her name, Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
The two policemen would have been Reese Shearsmith and
it would have been more
Paddy,
unhinged.
Imagine where that would have went though, like the levels and the deftness.
And Tyres.
Yeah.
Like Tyres or something is one of the police. Oh my god, I could totally recast the whole of Paul with Spaced characters.
Now you're writing a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but there's something just so special about this. And again, it probably is just the love that I have for Simon Pegg and Nick Frost that carries the movie for us because I'm not looking at what you're seeing. I'm just like
Okay,
it's got nerdy shit in and Comic-Con and
that's like an element of like the enjoying the adventure movie though. It's like, would you want to like go with the characters on this adventure? Because some of the ones we've talked about tonight have been horrible. But, you know, like bad experiences that you wouldn't want to go on. But like, hell yeah, you would get in the car with Paul and the writer and the artist. And hell yeah, I would get on the Hispaniola with Kermit the Frog. Like, no question.
Yes, no.
And Paul would hell yeah go down the sewers with the Goonies.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I'm going to end it with Paul. I'm happy with the list I picked. Like I said, it is authentic to me, whether or not it is hit.
Good, because it's legally binding, these lists.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God, I hope not. Because we were just talking earlier about how like things change, and our first episode was top 5 favorite movies. I guarantee you, there's a couple of them that's not in there right now.
Certainly. But just because there was a few shout outs I wanted to do as well, because I was gutted I couldn't name them. Like the Mummy was always one that was near close to this
Mummy.
one.
Yeah.
Which was probably the sexiest ever casted movie ever made.
Yeah.
Like Alice in Wonderland almost made the list as well from
God damn it. I didn't
Disney
even put that
cartoons
in.
as well.
Yeah.
National Treasure nearly made the list for me as well, because I do
Willow.
really like a silly, adventure-y solving puzzles thing.
Willow was one for me that I could, but because I'd only seen it the once, again, it's like I've never seen it. So, and I was like, I can't hold a strong conversation about it. But Willow, I remember watching it a couple of years ago and just being mesmerized by it.
Yeah, another one that nearly made it. National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah.
Like say
Wow.
the Griswolds going across the country with like say Johnny Galletti and not Kirsten Wiig,
Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis.
Yes.
I've never seen it, but I knew that. The minute you said Johnny Galecki, I knew who was.
But, like films like that, like Stand By Me was going to be on the list, but as I said, we've just done the episode.
That was the reason why it wasn't on mine for, because we had just talked about it.
That's a good coming of age. Like that's probably a perfect
that is the perfect
childhood
adventure.
Innocence is gone once we finish this last journey.
And also,
really was,
because I know we did an episode not too long ago. Get Nightmare Before Christmas always made it as well, because say you can class it as an adventure. Because Jack goes.
Well, Jack does have an adventure.
Yes.
He even ends up in James and the Giant Peach as a pirate captain as well.
James
so he had some kind of adventure.
James and the Giant Peach, that could have been a good one as well. So,
I mean, I did watch that video a lot as a kid, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Decent songs though.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so many different.
I always want a giant Lego in me garden.
Yeah, like I was saying, like a little character, big world. That's always a hit.
Yep. Well, this was so fun. I've missed doing top fives. I've not missed thinking about them. That's for damn sure. But I have missed doing top fives. It feels like it's been a while for me.
Bless you. We've done well. I think I won, but yeah.
I think Jake won. Sorry. I think Jake won.
Yeah, I think Paul always wins, I think.
Wow, what is wrong with you? Your list was great.
Yeah,
Jake is very subservient. He does what he's told, it's fine.
No, the Goonies it is just a good adventure.
Yes. But I said with Hook, like I said, to live is the ultimate adventure. But yes. So tomorrow night is do you want to say it because I can't say it? Bagul from Sinister, the monsters up north. You'll learn all about this crafty son of a bitch.
Please stick with us. We tried so hard. I will announce next week's episode in the chat on Monday, because there is a point halfway where you'll see me realize we haven't picked next week's episode and I haven't got it there to announce at the end. So I will tell yous in the chat tomorrow night.
Cool.
That's a good tease.
So you've got to tune in to find out. But yes. Goodwill will be live again on Friday. He'll be doing his trekking shit with Graham.
We're planning to be live on Tuesday as well. Probably
excellent.
Doing some more power washing, me and Goodwill back together again.
Oh, yay.
On another dirty adventure.
Excellent.
The dirty perverts cleaning things up again. We have a very special episode next Sunday. We won't be live, so I do apologise, but we will be filming during the day, where we are all going to be trying to go like a round table, so it'd be a different look, different feel. We will be basically sitting around talking shit, just having a conversation about
being punching distance of each other.
And getting to know us just a little bit more, and where we can have honest conversations where a screen isn't in the way of
see who can lick Goodwill first. But
none
how
in
long
your
it takes
house.
how long it takes Goodwill to leave.
Yes. So that video hopefully will be up on the Sunday night. I can't promise it'll be up for 7:30, but there will be editing. This is going to be actually the first video we do fucking edit as well. So.
Wow.
Cut out all the fights.
Yes. And then, like I say, we've got a few things lined up. Like I say, we've been in full swing for planning the charity podcast. Like I say, the 24 hours the 14th of October. We've got the date. We will be posting more about this week. We will be posting the just giving page.
Give
I don't know what it's called. It's where you can donate
funds,
money. It doesn't
funding.
go to us. We are going to be doing it towards cancer research because cancer has affected so many people in the group and so many part of the team as well. We will also just give you a few announcements for this as well. Like the first few hours will be a free for all with the Discord deviants coming on for a chat. We have a quiz lined up for later on in the evening where Jess will be running the quiz and a few people will be joining in, a few special guests. We possibly will be having a few people join us. Sammy will be talking to people about monsters. Goodwill and Graham will be talking to people about Trek. I will be talking a lot of shit about a lot of people, and we will be playing games throughout the night as well. Just because I don't think anyone wants to come on and talk shit to us throughout 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But,
hey, if you come on 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, come talk shit with us, because I tell you what, it'll be one of the best conversations you've ever had.
Unhinged ramblings.
God. Absolutely. Yeah. And why don't you just tune in for 24 hours and just see if me and Paul kill each other?
Well, we won't kill each other.
Like Sam will just leave the room and then show up behind Paul, like on the video. There's enough time.
I know where he lives.
Did anyone do that Big Bang episode where Sheldon and Penny have a conversation for 20 minutes and look at each other and see if they can fall in love? Let's see if that's true there, Sammy. let's make the dream come true.
Let's see if that's
gonna get really weird at 3 a.m.
Let's find out who's got the biggest nipples in the podcast as well. Yeah. But yeah, so that's all to come, and like I say, if we can do the full 24 hours, it's going to be.
We are going to do the full 24 hours. We're going to do it.
Of course, we don't have a choice.
Exactly, we've committed.
If we can get a sponsorship for adult nappies as well, that would be great. But yeah,
oh hell yeah,
there's going to be pizza parties and all sorts, and it's going to be so much fun.
The only thing that could go wrong is Paul falls asleep on the keyboard and hits stop
and turns everything off. Yes,
but yes,
yeah.
But failing that.
we will be there for 24 hours.
Yes. So
with many costume changes for me because I have a whole wardrobe planned.
Oh wow. Nipple tassels and everything, guys.
It's a shame you only get to see this part. I only have to worry about this part.
After midnight, Sammy will show her what's underneath the desk, but yes.
As long as you pay like £1,000.
That's the thing, yes. It's like, we'll do things throughout the day as well. If people donate, we'll get Sammy to see what shit we can get Sammy to do.
You just not have me pumpkin cardigan, that's for damn sure.
But yes, so same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone.
Bye.